Ushers, we have a popcorn spill in the lobby.
Alright.
Yusuke, what are you doing?
It's working!
It's working. But is it twerking?
I'd rather it not, actually.
God, I hope not.
Because I don't want to deal with it. So, welcome.
Where are we going?
Welcome to the official Ushers podcast, tie into the very famous and very beloved show, Ushers, brought to you by Netflix.
The hit original Netflix series Ushers.
Yeah, we're season 2. We just got greenlit for season 2.
Yeah, man.
It'll be coming out over the summer.
It is absolutely sweet. I love it.
Unfortunately, Matt, one of the co-creators, couldn't be here today. He had family business, but that's okay. That's okay. We've got the rest of the sort of. Well, I mean, I was the latest to join the team, but I mean, you all know that. You all know this.
I mean,
this is basic information.
We can't say a whole lot about season 2, but we got Bradley Cooper.
Oh,
Zach,
dude!
I'm not saying who he's playing.
You know what, Dylan? He did tweet about it earlier today.
Shit,
so,
you're right. You're very right.
If it wasn't Bradley Cooper, we'd fire him for that. But he's Bradley Cooper.
Oh man, I can't tell you how many times, 3, where I've had that happen to me.
Exactly 3.
Exactly 3.
Anyway.
More than 1, but
Dylan,
less than 4.
Why don't you tell us what the point of this podcast here today
Today,
is about?
We are going to be discussing the Last Jedi.
The Star Wars.
The Star Wars brought to you by Star Wars. Essentially, talking about thoughts and feelings about the movie, things that could have been done differently. Some would say better. I would say better.
You would say that.
I know, I'm trying just not to, allude to me because I want people to.
It occurs to me that some people out there may never have seen or heard of our hit Netflix original series Ushers, and for those few strange people, we should probably introduce ourselves.
Correct. Yeah.
Why don't you go first? You are well, I think you and Matt are the senior members of the creative team.
Actually, Zach is.
Yep.
Oh, I see. Wow.
Yep. Dylan and I mostly came up with the idea. Matt came on board.
Oh, I thought it was Matt that came on first. Oh.
Or maybe it was Matt.
I came on afterwards.
Yeah, I think.
Well, then,
I joked about the idea of a show similar to The Office.
And now we're
Matt had
rich
plenty of
and
good
famous
ideas.
and beloved. So.
Yeah. And it's just, you get so caught up in the fame.
So happy.
Oh,
just
so
all
happy.
the time.
Oh my god, it's so great. You just
Anyway.
get caught up in the fame and the money so much, you just don't remember your origins sometimes. You gotta take yourself back.
My life is really hard. I have to keep buying new mansions to fit all my money.
Oh, shit.
Why don't you introduce yourself then, Zach?
Hi. My name is Zach.
Good.
It's nice to meet you. Buy my merchandise, and you can binge watch Ushers on Netflix right now.
Season 2
Season
coming
2
in
is
summer.
coming out. I
Coming
repeat,
soon.
we do have Bradley Cooper. I won't say specifically what his role in the show is.
He's the new GM.
All I could say is we.
Damn it!
Oh, fuck.
Zach!
It's okay. We'll just cut it out.
Fuck.
Don't worry about it. It's easy.
I hope you remind me, because I don't know if I'm going to have enough time
I'll
to
put
put
a
an
note-
editor's note for our editor to take care
I'll
of it.
put a note in my phone right now while you're introducing
We
yourself.
showed up to
Okay.
his house frequently enough to get him to do the show, and we're really glad he's not pressing charges.
Yeah, I mean, we'll tell you about the story how we met Bradley Cooper later, but for other introductory purposes...
Thanks, Bradley.
Thanks, Bradley.
Thanks for listening.
You're the man.
Don't sue.
That's in our show. My name is Dylan.
That show again is Ushers.
Yes, Ushers. Sorry.
Original Netflix series.
It's on
Original
Netflix.
Netflix series.
Sorry, go on.
You got it. Hi, my name is Dylan. I am one of the co-conspirators in creating the hit show on Netflix, Ushers. And
cult leader of the newfound religion.
Crustaceous, the Church of Crustaceous.
God.
Plummen, everyone. Plummen.
I should have
Comment.
made you both promise not to talk about
Snip,
this.
It's okay.
Snip,
It's okay.
snip,
It's
bubble
not.
snip. We're not going to press our
We're
religious
not going to
agenda.
pressure people. We're just going to say that
That's another
his,
podcast.
his,
it's a different podcast.
Buttery, soft wisdom
Oh, Christ.
hidden inside of his
Jesus,
chitinous
Lord.
shell, blocking out the hateful comments.
This is so
If you'd like to
From
learn,
everyone outside.
if you'd like to
That
learn
makes
more
sense.
about Crustaceous, our Lord and Snipper,
and
please go to our website, crustaceusistruth.org.
then you can actually talk with Zach directly through his admin handle, Brother Crabbit. But we'll talk about that at a different time.
Follow me on Twitter,
So I am,
Brother Crab.
Dylan. I am one of the co-conspirators in creating the show, and I also happen to be the first original tech wizard warlock that does in control of a lot of the placement of mics and such, because I'm an audiophile, and God, if it's not right, will smite this recording.
Dylan is responsible for this, is what he is saying.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He'll be really upset if this is sounds like garbage. So if it does, don't worry, listener. Dylan is much more upset about it than you are.
Forever. Absolutely. God.
And this voice you're hearing now belongs to me, Zach. It's spelled without the C though, and that's how you'll tell me and Zach.
It's
So-
a very subtle pronunciation difference.
Yeah,
Just
you
if
can't,
you listen
Zach
for it.
and Zach.
Yeah, you'll hear it. Well,
if you stop being a fucking dumbass, you can actually hear the difference.
and
you can actually listen.
the only thing you really know about me is I'm also one of the creative leads, I guess you'd call me, on the hit Netflix original series Ushers. And all I want for Christmas is a quiet room where people won't talk to me for like a day.
Oh, that would be
Just
great.
one fucking day. Anyway.
Well, we're so famous that that's not going to happen.
No, our lives are forever in the public eye. It's impossible now.
So we'll get one of those eventually. It's called The Coffin.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be great.
Anyway.
Looking forward to it.
Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
General thoughts and opinions. Who wants to start?
First of all, 30 years later, they're still fighting that Star War, you know?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
God. Still fighting the Star
Still
War.
fighting
It's a hell of a Star War.
That Star War's not over.
So I think we've all seen that movie twice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
After my first viewing, I left the theater feeling confused and disappointed. Now, I don't know if confused is conflicted. Disappointed and conflicted. I didn't know how to feel.
I was confused.
I can
aside
definitely
from
agree.
disappointed.
We were all there.
I think
We were all confused and disappointed.
I think all of us had our opinions change to some degree, even if it was just minor, after seeing it a second time.
Dylan was visibly upset the first time.
Yeah, it definitely, I had to watch it a second time just to make sure if I felt the same way. But my main gripes with the movie have stayed the same because most of my complaints were about pacing, character development and dynamics, and story. And that is some hard-hitting stuff that I don't really back down on that much, especially given, the quality of director and writer who's in charge of the movie, and Rian Johnson. I don't really relent on stuff that easy. As much as I would love to say that a lot of the choices were made by Disney, I don't know how much I can really put into that.
Yeah, we've literally the only information we have is what we saw the movie, and that's it. We don't know anything else.
No,
we don't know. Like,
you'd think we would know more considering how famous we are and everything,
I'm
but
just so busy.
not to mention the
Just-
fact
I
that
had brunch with Ryan Johnson just a week ago.
Oh.
I forgot to ask him.
Oh.
what the
that's-
hell? You didn't invite me?
I slipped my mind.
We're seeing him for
really.
mini golf in like a week.
Fine,
we'll talk
fine,
about it
but
then.
like,
look
dude,
forward to that podcast.
I'm gonna look like an asshole now. 'Cause I don't actually.
no, he's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
Damn it.
That man is an animal.
Just real quick before
love you, Rye J.
I think he hates
My
to be
boy.
called that.
Not from me. We're very close friends.
But before we continue, I think it is very important to note, regardless of how negative, I guess, any of our opinions are, none of us begrudge anyone who likes this movie.
No, absolutely
I
not.
don't think any of us hate it.
We're
either.
not coming from a place of if you like this movie, you're dumb, or you shouldn't like this movie. Honestly,
You're probably dumb for other reasons.
I feel.
Agreed.
Damn it! I feel whenever I talk to someone about this movie and they're like, "Yeah, I really liked it," I feel upset that I don't like it.
Yes.
I want to like
Oh
this
my
movie.
God.
I've actually seen
so
more
bad.
positive feedback than
Which is
negative
great.
on the
I'm,
internet.
I'm happy. I'm glad people like this movie. I just wish that I liked it more than I do.
Yeah, I wish I enjoyed it as much as other people enjoyed the movie. It was weird. It was weird coming out of it the first night, being conflicted, and me being obviously more visibly shaken and honestly kind of disturbed with what I saw. It was interesting seeing the entire first wave of that first inline cultured nerd walking out going, what in the fuck was that? And then the coming days when the rest of the general population of the audience walk in, 80%, maybe the vast majority of them are saying, oh, this is the best movie ever.
Also, before we get in too deep, I think it's important to preface this discussion with
yes.
the fact that it's only been a week since the movie's come out.
Spoilers.
And I feel
Ahead.
not just that, but I feel like movies
Also
this
spoilers.
divisive require more time to settle and soak
Yes.
in
Yeah,
over the course of a few
None
years.
of us were alive when this happened, but when Empire Strikes Back came out, it people were pretty upset about that too.
Exactly.
It wasn't an instant classic.
No.
Over time, it became one of the more beloved Well, I mean, I don't know. We're not going to fucking argue about which fucking original trilogy movie. The answer is all of the original trilogy are the best one. So, anyway, we're talking
You
about
can
Last
say
Jedi.
that.
We're talking about Last Jedi.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That was
That's
my
okay.
bad. I was the one who...
Yeah.
who
So obviously, if you don't want any kind of spoilers for the movie, even though it has been out for a week, I don't expect that many people to have time considering the holidays.
And
so
you know, because of the magic of time travel, it actually won't be like 2020 until this podcast airs.
Might add that we invented with our
I didn't
fortune from.
I didn't think we had to mention.
I think
that.
it's important that they know.
I mean,
now.
it's going to be this is going to be coming from 2020, maybe
part-
2025, beamed directly from
Now, the part
Elon
about-
Musk's Mars
We have a
base.
time traveled by.
So we're going to
part-
be in Mars at this point.
The part of about season 2 of the hit original Netflix series Ushers being available soon. That's we've sort of
That's on
codified our
Netflix.
language.
That's on Netflix, by the way.
Yes, for you listeners in the past, like
Of course.
that's not like it's not a
Yeah.
future show. Like we're
In the
not.
past where we weren't as famous.
I don't want
Yeah.
you guys freaking out. Like we have to wait 7 years or whatever. I can't math for the next season. No, it's coming soon. Like don't worry.
It's coming soon enough. Fear not.
in the year.
There's a my guard dog's going off again. Fucking paparazzi's at my door. God damn it!
So I guess
I'm sorry, I tweeted that we were doing this.
You think you have privacy in your own home?
should I just?
No, you don't. You have.
Nope, it's
There
fine.
it goes.
It's fine. Oh God,
We can just cut this
I'll
part
take
out.
care of him.
Don't worry about it.
That's what he's for.
that's what it's
Um,
for. It's fine.
So I guess. So Dylan, you said that your feelings between the first and second viewings changed not that much, right?
No,
You don't really feel it differently.
A lot of the things that I had an issue with remained pretty much the same, maybe intensified. My enjoyment of the movie did, rise. It went from my first viewing being a solid 5 out of 10 to like a 6.5. Depending on how I feel and like maybe years down the line, leaning towards 7. But 6.5 out of 10 is pretty much where I feel for the most part.
That's about where I am as well. Maybe a little higher.
My main couple things definitely revolved around a couple issues with the pacing and the overall choices made for the story. First off, number one, this doesn't take place immediately after 7. Give it a 2-month interval. Just, my God, give it a 2-month interval where Rey is trying to gain the trust and mentorship of Luke on the island. We already know we're going through the daily routine. Show the daily routine of like catching the fish and stuff like that. That's interesting. And that's how he's trying to live his mundane life so he can die and leave the world. But Rey is still trying every day, trying to convince him, not of like, help the resistance, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, help me. I want to, if you're not going to leave, I need you to help me so I can help them.
In the interest of structure, should we just kind of go
through the.
Yeah, like should we have everyone say like,
chronologically.
go over what their opinions after the second reading were, and then kind of take each point like in all, so we're not like going over like
All over the movie.
pacing, and then someone else is like, oh well, here's what I think about pacing. Like later on, we can all just like chime in.
So let's start off. Let's start off with. Let's start off with that. Yeah.
So
You
I'll-
were saying you prefer that the beginning had not taken place directly after Force Awakens.
No, absolutely not. It would have set up everything a lot more sense of desperation if, of course, they did have to evacuate, but it's in the title crawl where it's like, the resistance, has attacked. They've already evacuated, and to make it even more like desperate, to try and hide from the First Order hunting them down. They've gone to these fringe bases, these separate groups, so you don't have like your entire squadron with you. And it could definitely open up with the same thing with like a space battle. I love the fact they included more space battles in this one. It felt nice to actually see it happen. Mm-hmm. Like you could have like a close up of like a whole entire like regiment of like the resistance, trying desperately to escape from a Star Destroyer, and they just barely manage to get out of there. Or just, think they're just about to get out of there when the Dreadnought comes in and just wipes out the entire fleet. So that way you can actually see how intense, how scary it is. So you find it all the more, amazing when you see Poe taking down the guns and having like an assault run on it later when they actually manage to hyperspace jump into another base. But the entire time knowing from the title crawl that the Resistance spread thin across whatever bases they have, the First Order hunting them down and very methodically, very just barbarically butchering and blasting every single base into oblivion, making them actually, you know, maniacal, making them darker, making it more like, oh god, like we may have destroyed one super weapon, but they aren't just a super weapon, they are a giant fleet of merciless killers. And you have that sense of foreboding, like they're coming, we have to go. It's not just, yeah, I can just take them all on, whatever. You gotta make them, you know, sinister. Like they, for God's sake, Hux is the ginger Nazi in space, who with all of his space Nazi followers, they're supposed to be intimidating, and we'll get to the humor aspect later, but that's the start of the pacing.
That is the beginning of the movie, though, and the introduction of Poe.
Yes.
Again, that does tie in directly to the one of my issues with this movie, which is the humor.
But we can definitely get to that later. The only other bit of pacing, like, besides, like, the 2-month time skips, that way it adds, like, this level of mystique to choices made and gap in writing.
Just to clarify, what you're saying is you don't like that it takes place immediately after Force Awakens.
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no. Give it. It doesn't even have to be 2 months. Just give it enough time to where people have traveled around, vacated a bunch of different things. They're spread thin. They're on the run. They're on the run. They're not literally on the run. It's not a fucking 2-hour chase through
basically,
space.
the majority of this movie would have already happened off screen.
Yeah, and it gives a little bit more wiggle room for a writer to work with something, or like say there's like a hinted at relationship between characters, or like a deepened like friendship that happened off screen because they had to work together, or you can't just say like, oh hey, the character's this way now, even though it's immediately after the events of the first film. It's like that. It just throws me for a loop and takes me out. I can't do it.
Specifically, is what you're talking about.
That's one.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest gripes I have. Yeah, the fact that they turned an intimidating ginger space Nazi into a fucking stupid, like, comedy punchline bitch.
Well,
apart from one scene.
I didn't actually mind that so much, just because I didn't really find Hux that interesting of a character to begin with. He just kind of yelled a lot in The Force Awakens, and he's still he's still a prick. Like, he's still, for the most part, the same character. It's just now everyone treats him like shit, which I'm not necessarily against, but I can understand why that wouldn't jive with some people. But I personally didn't really have a problem with him specifically being the butt of a few jokes. Like, it made his on
too much though.
It did go on a little too. It did go too far in some cases, specifically with Poe. Though I will admit, I did find it funny. It, like, in the grand scheme of things, it is a bit out of place, especially with the type of humor, or the specifically type of joke that was being made in that scene. Did not really feel like Star Wars, but
no, it definitely
felt like a Marvel movie.
Yeah, like Marvel's slowly bleeding through Disney's entire, production office, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when you're trying to make something relatively sinister or serious, it just kind of compromises the whole entire idea of what you're trying to like shoot in a scene or present to an audience. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I'm not against humor at all in this movie.
No,
it's
got to be in character, because Han Solo was a good example of comedy that's in character, that's great, and it works because it's already pre-established.
I feel like that's what they were going for with Poe, but it didn't really.
He's supposed to be the flyboy, but like they didn't really establish it that well, because the original plan in 7 was for him to die, so they didn't really develop his character that much until like way too late.
He had some growth in this movie a little bit.
Oh yeah,
it was at the expense of an entertaining, 30 minutes of this movie. It could have been better.
His whole entire arc could have been improved, but I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my initial gripes with pacing. You got anything, Zach?
Not like you're more of a hardcore film buff nerd guy than I am. Like, I don't like the whole oh, there should have been a time skip. I don't really care about that.
No,
I mean that's fine.
I just like.
I mean, I was actually excited to see the direct follow up to the end of Force Awakens with Luke Skywalker. Like, I wanted to see exactly what happened after that.
Mm-hmm. Which they did do.
They did do, but that's that was a scene.
Oh my god!
I feel like do we still want to talk about pacing?
Just real quick. I guess I'll say that after my second viewing, my opinion changed. I guess somewhat more significantly than Dylan's. It sounds like, but not in a like sliding scale like dislike way. My like perspective of the movie has shifted.
Oh yeah,
I look at it differently now.
That's why I enjoyed it more. I appreciate it for what it is, but I still have like that same issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually like it quite a bit more now, just because of things that they set up throughout the movie that pay off later that I didn't realize to look out for the first viewing. So now, knowing that and seeing that...
You mentioned that after seeing it a second time, and when I went to see it a second time, I tried to look out for that stuff, but I really didn't notice that much.
There's specific things that I was confused about at the end.
Yeah.
That they do mention it, though, very briefly. It was like more of a specific thing I wasn't entirely sure about, but...
There is like a couple things that I noticed that does, stoke some of the like theory flames in my head, but also knowing who Rian Johnson is as a person and as a director. He takes the idea of like, oh, he's a Star Wars fan, but he wants to see it evolve because he already knows that people are expecting a certain thing, so he's willing to just throw everything away and start over.
That's funny, because my biggest problem with this movie is that it doesn't feel like they've changed it up at all. They always went really, really close to being like, okay, we're breaking the mold, and then they'd be like, no, just kidding.
I think
we're actually not.
I think that's where Disney came in. It's like, you better compromise, bitch, or you're not getting that the trilogy.
I mean, I feel like it is. It was very different to me in the way that this felt like the final movie in the trilogy. The way all the bridges they burned in this movie, and like...
I mean, there is like that like line of dialogue, let the past die, kill it if you have to.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing I respect about this movie is I feel like it's more of a statement of just like, let the original trilogy go. We're doing our own thing now.
Okay, so I think
we're focusing on new characters who aren't related to the Skywalker family.
Refining my point further, I guess. I am not one of those people who's upset that they're trying to be different from the original trilogy.
No, absolutely
I want them
not.
to. From the beginning, I wanted them to do something different.
It sounds great.
I guess my problem is that they didn't go far enough.
No, they had three chances.
They set up interesting ideas, but never really.
I think whatever Episode 9 ends up being is really going to change how I look at this movie.
I feel like 9's going to be a little fluffier than this one, just to sort of make up for.
Well, they've already got like 3 other movies after this one planned out.
Yeah, but like the
Ryan Johnson's
trilogy. It's going back to J.J. Abrams.
10, 11, and 12.
Anthology.
Yeah.
Wait, they have what?
They've already confirmed they're doing episodes 10, 11, and 12.
I thought that was supposed to just be a different trilogy with Ryan Johnson somewhere.
Well, no, there's doing that too, but I'm almost positive.
Christ.
I read somewhere that they already said they're going to do an episode.
Star Wars
10.
Man, I get so busy making Ushers that I don't keep up with the time.
They're just going to keep pumping them out until people stop watching them and it stops making them money, which isn't going to be for like another 15 or 20 years.
Well, it's hard to focus on small independent films like Star Wars when you're fucking at the top of the world, you know?
Yeah.
They kind of just fly under your radar.
This huge successful TV show, man, you don't got time. Your schedule's packed.
We don't
packed.
I'm gonna be real with you. One person listening to this who isn't the three of us. We didn't go into this with like a plan of exactly like a schedule or anything of what to talk about and when.
Yeah.
I guess it's just sort of free form, and we'll try to focus in on points as they come up.
I'm just fucking talking. I don't know. It's like, we'll just get through this. I'm just gonna keep talking.
I went into this movie expecting. I know why I feel the way I do about this movie now, which is important. That was what I wanted, was to understand why I felt this way. I went into this movie expecting something very specific, not super specific. I went into it expecting something specific, and I didn't get that, and that's on me, right? Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, this movie didn't do what I wanted, and that makes it bad. But like,
but they kind of set it up
with the trailers, with how they cut the trailers, and the name The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. I got a very specific vibe from this that I don't want to say that failed to deliver. I don't think that's right, but so I was expecting them to have Luke be like what the fans call a gray Jedi. I expected the training of Rey to be like, no, light and dark. Like it doesn't
cool.
It doesn't matter. like Jedi and Sith, they're the same. What matters is how they use the Force, right? You can be a Jedi and use dark side powers for good. Like it's not it's all bullshit, right? Like the middle way, right? Balance.
Yes,
he did touch on
the Force itself.
He did
is balance.
But by the end of it, he was still just like, right, yeah,
I'm
but
afraid
still
of
be
the
a
dark.
Jedi though.
Yeah,
but still be a Jedi though. Like don't you know?
I saw so much darkness.
Don't take the middle path. Just be a Jedi.
I've seen so much darkness,
or at least
people before.
At least I'll say that was my impression of this movie, was that Luke was still very much like, no, like
change of heart.
Because the whole thing about like, oh, the Jedi need to end. Like my impression was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be like, because the Jedi and the Sith are both wrong. There's another way.
There's a new philosophy that I've been like meditating on.
But
here.
Instead, what happened was Luke was like, no, the Jedi need to end because they don't work, and a bunch of shit, and which makes sense in the movie. Like I'm not shitting on that.
I think I prefer that, honestly. They're just old and bitter and wants it to end.
Yeah.
You just think it's all bullshit. Like I prefer that as opposed to like.
But by the end of the movie,
there's...
it felt very much like, okay, but never mind, the Jedi should exist again, and it's like, but you just spent this whole movie telling us why they shouldn't, though.
And
I don't really.
And like Rey's like, yeah, but they did some good stuff too. And I'm like, that's not enough of a reason for me to get behind it.
It's better to see a bitter old man who sits there meditating and thinking on a daily life, cutting himself off from the Force, like in the movie, slowly studying and trying to realize the truth, and then coming to the conclusion of, yes, I need to find the middle ground because this two-sided shit is not working.
Like, this is really funny. I think we're going to end up realizing we care about very different things about this movie. But like, I don't care about how it happens. What I was expecting was Luke to be like, yeah, I will be the Last Jedi because you have to be something different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't be a Jedi.
I didn't get that at all. I just figured... Like,
that was my expectation. Right? That's not what happened. I'm not saying that's what happened, because it wasn't. Obviously.
I had a very different
whether that's good or bad, like,
Yeah.
So I think my lesson here is, this is a problem I always have, though. I get fucking hyped about stuff. I get excited about things I love.
Try not to watch trailers.
I've been trying, like recently, I've been trying very hard. I tried so hard not to get hyped for this movie.
I honestly really wasn't hyped for this movie, and I don't really know why that is.
Yeah, me neither.
Even when it started.
Honestly, I was like, oh boy, Star Wars, and it started, and I was like, okay, here we go.
I wasn't nearly as excited being in the theater for this movie as I was for 7, which was odd.
Well, I remember because we just got Rogue One, and we know all the other movies that are coming in between this and Episode 9.
Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just...
I don't want to talk about that right now.
No. That's a different time.
So, what else do I have to say, I guess? Just, like...
My impression...
The lesson I learned was, expectation versus reality. And, that's on me. Like, I want to be very clear about that. That's my problem.
Mm-hmm. You're one of the few fans that can actually admit that.
I don't want to not like this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's very unfair to be like...
to dislike a movie.
I think it's very unfair to be like, this movie is bad because it's not what I wanted. Because I honestly hate people who are like that. Like, oh, this person made this thing, but it wasn't what I wanted, so it's bad. It's like, fuck you. Like, no, that doesn't matter. Like, fuck you. Why do you think your opinion is so fucking important?
Yeah,
like,
I definitely went in with the same kind of a similar mindset with like what I expected to happen. Because I like you said, I come from like the theater, not theater, more film background, with like, especially all the writing conventions and stuff. Like, even though I try my best to break away from writing conventions, I still think of specific kinds of scenarios that I want to see happen. It's not because like, like the idea that I had is that, it's going to be a cross-cutting sequences between both Kylo Ren and Rey. Obviously, awesome. But like that already to the like, even just the dialogue between them, that's happening, but it's happening over the course of like a longer chewing. Like, you have to just sit there and savor like the moments of dialogue, because it's a long form of them both training. But that we don't get that. And if you actually had them sit there and train it, you have the time to slow everything down, really bite into the meat of like character dynamic development that I wanted to see, and I was just so rudimentary, just denied.
Right, but then this movie is 4 hours long, and no one's gonna sit through 4 hours. I mean, well, yes, they would, but like,
you could have still had it
practical.
You still could have had it be like the same thing, but it's about Kylo and Rey, and everything else is secondary. you have scenes that are important to the Resistance and stuff, but they're mainly hiding. They're not trying to do something huge and important. They're trying to run away. They're trying to stay in hiding. In my canon of what would happen in this, different version of the movie, because the focus should be on the two new characters, that are happening in like the foreground, Kylo and Ren, their relationship with each other and the Force as a whole.
We did get a lot of that, but not as much as we could have considering Casino Planet.
Well, yeah. Do we all agree that Canto Bight was a gigantic waste of our time?
It's a waste of time and it ruined Finn.
Does. That's really my only, and going back to pacing, that's really my only issue with the movie in terms of pacing, because it's so detached. It's so detached from everything else that's going on.
God,
there is no sense of urgency on that planet. They're just kind of there, kind of just sleuthing around.
Even though they literally have 12 hours to get a thing and travel across space.
It does not feel urgent at all. They're it feels like they're taking their time.
I like
complete detachment from everything else.
I like the actress who played Rose.
As well.
Yes. I think she did a good job. But I don't know why Rose... Okay, I know why Rose is in this movie.
Yes.
But from, like, a pacing or, like, plot or whatever...
The fact that she has a romantic B-plot is lame.
She's in this movie so that in the next one there can be some weird love triangle, I guess, which is...
With
I don't
who?
Well, even before this movie, like, Rey and Finn never really had...
Yeah, that's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really know each other that
I feel like that's what sparked all the theories that Finn and Poe were banging.
I mean, honestly,
even though it's like
I'd be okay with that.
I'd be fine with that. I was actually kind of hoping for that.
We need some canonically gay people in Star Wars movies. Like, I'd be... But so, like, what I wish had happened instead, like, whether or not Rose needs to be in this movie for any reason, like, whatever, I don't know. What I wish had happened instead was that Finn and Poe got to go off and have, like, a fun buddy adventure. Like,
holy shit, they did so much wasted potential with choices for characters. The choices that were wasted, the ability to demote Poe from commander all the way down to a captain, maybe even lower, could have forced him to be doing things with Finn to further cultivate and show the bond of friendship, given the time skip, if that would actually happen. Even without the time skip in there, you could develop a relationship.
Let's not go into each point assuming that your personal headcanon is what's happening.
I know, So even taking like what I've said before out of the equation, you can still cultivate and show and express better character relationships that way, because he's not just some big hotshot commander. He's a hot-headed flyboy who fucked up, gets demoted, has to deal with it. But the light side of everything is that he gets to work with Finn. Finn goes through like he's not a coward again. Fuck that.
Yeah, those two didn't really get a whole lot of screen time together, and their relationship was one of the more interesting ones in Force Awakens.
Now,
their friendship felt genuine, and we didn't really get to see that
secret love
anymore.
Either one.
That's what I wanted it to be.
Whatever you want.
Maybe
that would be so awesome if just out of nowhere in the next one they're like, oh, actually, no, I don't like Rose or Rey. I'm gay. Poe and I have been like banging for like months. It's
did you see?
All right. Sweet.
I thought we weren't assuming the time skip. Okay.
No, I meant in the next one, dumbass.
We gotta preface that.
I did say you weren't listening.
No.
You never.
I'm too busy.
This is why episode 7 of Ushers is like one of the lowest rated episodes at 89%.
We don't talk about episode 7. Shut the fuck up.
Don't ever bring that up.
I'm sorry.
Please.
It's
my biggest shame.
That was uncool of me. I apologize.
As a showrunner, that is my biggest shame. I will never be able to look at
Owen Wilson was a terrible campaign.
God,
I'm sorry.
Terrible. Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars.
Yeah. So, going back to the idea of them being able to express things together, taking into consideration, Finn as a character developing, being with Poe, not only strengthening and showing like their friendship or secret relationship, whatever you want to have it be.
I don't care at this point.
It doesn't really matter. The idea being that you could have had Poe really teaching something instrumental to Finn, who they're trying to make the next Han Solo-esque character. Teach him how to fucking fly. Teach him how to fly. Teach him the ropes.
Okay, well, instead of what we didn't get, let's talk about specifically what we did.
So what we did get with
what happened with Poe, Finn, and Rose, and why it's terrible.
So with Finn, I was really disappointed in the fact that even though they show at the end of Force Awakens, he overcomes his biggest fear in Kylo Ren and having no real way.
I would argue that his biggest fear is Phasma, But I mean,
after
this one,
he kind of overcame that already in Force Awakens.
Yeah, his arc was
true.
effectively brought way to closure way too soon, my opinion.
Yeah, from what we've seen, Phasma is really not that big of a deal.
Not anymore.
She's essentially Boba Fett. She looks
is
cool.
in terms
She's
of selling
fucking lame.
merchandise.
She exists to sell toys, yeah. I mean,
She exists to sell toys. Her
Which
armor's
sucks
awesome.
because the actress is fucking incredible.
Yes.
Like, what a waste of her talent.
She's
kinda hoping
Brianna
we'd see her
Tarth.
face.
She's so cool. As an actor, she has the ability to portray
Zach
death.
hasn't had time to see Game of Thrones because he's been so busy.
I mean,
being
I've
rich.
directed a few episodes, but I haven't watched them.
Yeah, he hasn't had time to watch them.
I don't have time to watch those.
You got that right, man.
I'm directing Ushers. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Far more successful show.
Damn right.
Nothing on Game of Thrones, but I don't have time to watch that.
Weren't you in an episode of Game of Thrones?
Yeah, but you really
Dude.
expect me to watch that?
I can't be bothered with every kind of cameo role I'm expected to appear in, which is all of them. Every single large cinematic TV show, we are all cameos in the background.
Yep.
More than welcome to look.
I mean, I've played several characters in the same scene, all interacting with each other, and nobody.
And
noticed.
kind of as an homage to our own show, we always show up in scene 9 of any kind of show, like shooting cameo appearance, because episode 9. If you haven't already watched it, go to Ushers. You'll know what I'm talking about.
We're getting off track about
We're
a very
getting
successful show.
very, very off
Yeah, I'm
topic.
sorry.
Again, that show is on Netflix, and season
Yes.
2 will be coming out soon.
Yeah.
Yes, just to clarify.
Bradley
yes.
Cooper.
If
Of
you
course.
somehow skipped to the middle, or I don't even know how long this is.
I don't know. Some people lose their minds and they put it on the background.
So, yeah, Finn, to be real, though, like, okay, none of us are... Okay, we direct a hit original Netflix series. That's not... We can't sit here and say that it's the same as making a movie.
No.
I'm sure it's a very different beast.
No.
None of us have written a movie before. We've written, 45-ish minute
I
episodes
have,
of
but I
it.
got denied.
Well,
so.
we're not going to talk about that.
No.
That's another podcast.
Yes,
we
of
can bring
course.
that up later.
Of course.
So, I don't want anyone listening to this think that we know better than,
No.
movie directors or whatever. I don't know what the fuck I would have done with Finn if I was making this movie.
I do.
Well, I mean, yeah, the Poe and Finn is
Poe
an
and Finn is
interesting
a start.
dynamic. Literally anything
Yeah.
with those two could have been interesting just because of their interactions and their
Throwing
chemistry.
Their chemistry working together is already a boon from
I don't-
7 carrying over to this movie.
I'm just saying I don't see where Finn is supposed to go from here.
So
Well, I feel like now that we have Rose, and we've introduced her skill set and what she can do and everything.
Yeah.
I think instead of going to Canto Bight to find a fucking hacker, I think it should have just been Rose, and Finn and Rose and possibly Poe.
just
Who
go
knows, could have
directly to
just
the ship.
Gone
Yes.
directly to the ship instead of going down to this planet to find this hacker, which they don't even end up finding.
No,
they
they
just find
find
Benicio del
Del
Toro,
Toro.
Yeah.
who doesn't have a name in the movie as far as I know.
It's DJ.
which
It's
literally
DJ?
just stands for "Don't Join."
Oh, cool. Well, great. That's cool. I'll be sure to buy that action figure. I feel like Rose should have just been the hacker. That could have saved us 30 minutes of doing nothing.
We could have had 30 minutes of them sneaking around. Okay, yeah, isn't that just them sneaking around the fucking Death Star or whatever? I mean, yeah, sure, but I don't know.
It's one of those things where you can. It kind of brings us to
fucking. I don't make movies.
It brings us to an additional point where, I know they explain this in Rogue One. I've been made aware by Zach.
I've been made aware by my dad, and he just marathoned all of them.
And made aware that that one scene in Rogue One where they're going through all the different kind of archive things where it's the hyperspace tracking thing.
Yeah,
I get it, but at the same time, it would have been much more interesting and much more dark if you actually did a counter spy thing.
I don't think it
You could have actually had a character from Rogue One be the person that they go to.
that would be
if
cool.
they had set that up.
If you wanted
in
to
Rogue
do that.
One, they could go find whoever.
I mean,
So people are getting really pissed off about they can just suddenly hyperspace track out of nowhere. I personally don't care.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
It's burgeoning.
It's a plot
tech.
device. Fucking, it's there to explain how a thing happens. The First Order, if anything, you should be oh shit, the First Order can track you through hyperspace. Fuck, that's bad.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Oh, but how can they do it? Who cares? They can. That's bad.
Yeah, how do they fucking drop bombs in space for no reason?
Because there was gravity in the ship, and then when it falls out, it keeps continuing forward because of motion.
Oh, wow.
Also, the bombs are on tracks that push them down. So
So even if gravity isn't enough, the whole entire pneumatic
it's really
device
not-
just.
I feel like they wouldn't fall at that rate, though.
I mean,
Feels like
also it's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't.
physics.
Well, space wizards. So.
It's a science fantasy. Don't read into it too much.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Trust me, like that was definitely the deal. They tried to be a little bit more scientifically accurate, and scientifically accurate in air quotes.
Yeah, right.
For the original trilogy, because they were using the technology for lasers as the basis for a lot of their super weapon designs.
And they even scientifically tried to explain the Force.
Ugh. No, they didn't.
No,
Shut up.
that never happened, and they conveniently and very smartly decided to not talk about that. And
never again after the.
It's a conspiracy theory that's not real. It's made up by a bunch of stupid
Qui-Gon is
neckbeard
just
morons.
a fucking kook.
That's why he died. He died for his sins.
Exactly.
It is very interesting, though. It is very interesting, though, seeing what people do and don't care. What different people do and don't care about.
I mean, that's not even something I genuinely care about.
With the light speed tracking, I get it. With the
it does not bother me at all.
The first watch through, I'm like, what? The second watch through, I went, you know what? No, it makes sense because
I was on
they
board
have
right
access.
away. I was like, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
They
have through hyperspace.
They have
shit.
access.
Honestly,
to,
I didn't know they couldn't do that before. Like, I never thought about it. It never mattered.
Like, they have access to, like, the newest tech because they, like, just as, Rose described, they just strip mining planets, destroy everything, buy weapons from weapons dealers.
Maybe
buy
before
technology.
we started talking, we should have mentioned all of our, like, relative knowledge levels about Star Wars. Like, none of us are huge, crazy... I mean, I don't know about Dylan.
I'm
not as big as you would think.
We are not huge, gigantic Star Wars nerds. We like the movies. We like some of the video games.
I watched some of Clone Wars, not all of it.
I've read a couple
Played
of
Knights of the Old Republic, a few Star Wars games.
I've read a couple of the extended universe, or I guess they're called Legends now, books. Not all of them, because it's insane. I read the ones that interested me. Like, I read the Legacy of the Force series, I think. I read Young Jedi Knights when I was, 12 or 13.
Star Wars was definitely a bigger deal to me when I was younger.
Yeah,
now
so
that I'm older,
we don't know every facet of the old canon or the new canon. None of us have read any of the new books or any of that shit. I don't think any of us really care.
No,
I'm just kind of exhausted.
Actually, no. There is one thing about the new books and new comics and stuff that actually bothers the shit out of me. When you say, "Oh, hey," I mean, this is totally Disney's fucking sell shit and what's the word?
Money.
What's the word?
Merchandising.
Yeah, merchandising effect on the series of Star Wars. When you look at the ideas of a perfect example from the last movie in Force Awakens is Traitor, the stormtrooper. Traitor. That makes so little sense unless you've read the comics about Finn's training.
They didn't, but didn't they do that after the movie came out though?
No.
Are you talking about that one specific stormtrooper?
Yeah. There's a whole
there's a whole entire backstory for him.
That one fucking stormtrooper who said that one thing.
It's not just that. There's also the the stormtrooper that put his bloody hand over Finn's face.
Does he have a story too?
That was him, Traitor, and then one other guy we haven't seen yet are all part of Poe's training team.
You mean Finn?
Sorry, Finn's. I don't know why I think Poe.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, earlier you said Kylo and Ren instead of Kylo and Rey as well.
I'm just I get worked up about this.
Oh god.
The fact that it's a canon comic that came out
it's canon, huh?
Completely it came out the same time the movie did as a way to explain hey, this is Finn's backstory when he was
that's
training
really
as a stormtrooper.
That's really easy to disregard though. I didn't even know that was a thing until
I guess some people care about that shit. I don't care for that.
It's there for the people who do care.
It's one of those things,
so it doesn't bother me.
That's one of those things where it's if you read the comics, I shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
I should be able to watch the movie and have a good time.
I shouldn't have to read the comics
Star Wars
to understand.
I think
looking at you, World of Warcraft movie.
I think in the Star Wars fandom, the comics is more of a niche.
That's embarrassing.
I think the comics and the Star Wars fandom are more niche than.
Yeah, and the fact that they try and work it into the mainstream, it's sure, the niche audience is going to get more pleasure and more entertainment, but I shouldn't have to dig through that to understand what's going on.
Yeah. Because I understood perfectly well.
Yeah.
He joined the resistance, so he's a traitor. That
great.
was easily
moving on.
I did not need an explanation for that.
Yeah.
But it's there if you want one.
If
it already makes sense in the context of Force Awakens.
If you are one of those people who knows all this shit, that's cool. Don't think for a second we're saying that's dumb or a waste of your time.
No.
If you love something that much,
enjoy it.
Awesome. I'm so happy that you love something so much.
Personally, that's what I feel.
Yeah.
And
this is all fucking bullshit opinions.
To tack onto that, it's the only reason why it like bothered me is because the personal actions of that particular stormtrooper.
We're talking about Force Awakens instead of Last Jedi.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll break off in a second.
You're gonna bring it around town.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it back around. Bringing around to the idea of the actions that were written in and what he does, instead of just using what he had in his hands, a blaster and shield, to quickly, just it's like, oh, he's a traitor, I need to like take him out. It's like, no, this is personal. I'm going to drop my blaster and pull out a melee weapon and kick the shit out of him.
Which they do again in Last Jedi.
Which is in the reverse.
Blaster's too good for them.
Oh, God.
Really? It seems pretty efficient.
It's efficient and it's cold-hearted.
Death is death. I thought you were supposed to be...
I mean, but it's... Like, the reason that happens is so that they don't die, though. Like,
yes.
Yeah, of course.
It
makes sense. Again, like, the movie conventions make sense.
Yeah, like, I feel like people get a lot upset about a lot of things where it's like, why did that happen? It's like, because it's a movie. Like,
I just thought it was funny.
You just have to accept it.
I didn't have a problem with it.
If you
me neither. Like, I didn't care.
If you want, like, Logic 101 injected into a movie, go watch CinemaSins. Jesus Christ.
God.
I love them so much, but at the same time, like, we get it. It's a movie. Chill out.
I mean,
although I love their part 1 and 2 on. They have a part 1 and a part 2 for both Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but that's necessary.
Bro, just go watch Half in the Bag. These guys are really entertaining. Just get
but anyway, back onto Last Jedi.
So Zach, did you talk about how like if your second viewing, like what changed or how your opinion changed or whatever after you saw it a second time?
The things I liked the first time around, I liked even more. The things I disliked went by much faster, and they didn't really affect me all that much. Like pretty much the one thing I don't like about this movie, I enjoyed like 80% of it. Really, everything I didn't like about it was tied into Canto Bight and Finn and Rose, and like all the things that could have been done to avoid that whole thing entirely. Like, was her name Holdo?
Vice Admiral Holdo.
Vice Admiral Holdo. Just
my main gripes of the movie all revolve around that. Everything else is great. I'm totally fine with everything. All the decisions they took certain characters in. That didn't bother me at all. I enjoyed it more the second time. Yeah, like I said, I'm a casual Star Wars fan, so this isn't like my life or anything. It was entertaining. I had fun with it the second time. Everything on Canto Bight went by much quicker. Knowing exactly how it played out and when it would be over, it didn't really matter as much to me the second time around. And the whole thing with Leia and the weird choice to... She wasn't flying through space, but if you've seen the movie...
Mary Poppins through space.
You know it very well looks like she's flying.
I don't know why that scene is in there.
It's very whimsical. It's cool that she can use the Force, but I feel like we could have...
I'm glad we got a chance to see that Leia can use the Force, because she actually pursued it.
But we already knew that.
So, but like if we had like
in episode 7, doesn't she say that she like felt Han's death or whatever through the Force? Like we already know she can use the Force. We don't need to see her.
Like some people, I understand they want her to like actually use the Force in a certain way, and that's fine. Like have her do something simple, like Force push something to get someone out of danger
like,
or whatever.
Matter.
That's fine. That matter. In the grand scheme, it doesn't matter. But having her somehow surviving the vacuum of space and then pulling herself to the ship is dumb, and I will never get over that.
I thought that was a perfect opportunity to kill her character off, and I thought that's what they were going to do, and that would have been more interesting. But actually, what would have been more interesting than that is have her take the place of Holdo in one of the best scenes in the movie.
My God, what a point! What a statement!
We can get to that in a moment. But
yeah. Oh God, what
overall, my enjoyment was heightened the second time around, and still my only problems remained. Like even the Porgs were not as big of an issue the second time around.
No, they really weren't.
They really only bothered me in the climax of the movie where things are supposed to be a little more dramatic
serious,
and serious. And they're flying up against the window and shit.
Fucking Jesus.
I mean, they bothered me less the second time, but it like they were still just very obviously like buy the toy, the character,
their product,
buy the toy.
Definitely product placement.
Calling me.
Oh boy,
I can wait.
Oh, okay.
I can definitely. I definitely
like congratulate you on season 2.
Yeah, more than likely.
Well,
I mean, why wouldn't she? It is rather late.
She's a big Bradley Cooper fan, isn't she?
Yeah, we did get Bradley Cooper.
Oh gosh, she might just be wanting to get a favor to like meet Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
But like the main thing I feel about Porgs, I definitely have an issue with Porgs. Just so many fucking Porgs, but it doesn't matter.
The
second way through, I didn't have as much of an issue with them like you guys did.
No, I
only have an issue with the climax of the movie, and they're too prevalent in that serious climactic moment of the movie.
Yeah.
My main issue outside stems from the sheer amount of people blasting it at me, like in public, like, don't you like porgs? Are porgs cute? It's like, Jesus Christ,
Really?
I don't care.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that at all.
But
God, people just don't shut up about porgs, man.
One thing I do like the design of the porgs, but every other cute animal in this movie that they kind of push on you throughout the movie, I feel like their designs were a little underwhelming, and they didn't really feel.
Crystal foxes, for one.
The crystal foxes were cool. It was an interesting idea, like visually, but it doesn't feel like a Star Wars creature. Especially that may be the fact that it's fully CG and
then
I don't know, but it feels like more like an Avatar character.
being on
creature.
that planet and just watching the guy look at the ground, taste it, and go, ugh, salt. It's like,
it's salt.
Yeah, no shit. It's a fucking mineral planet.
Yeah.
What did you think?
That was one thing that I just think it's funny now. I thought it was so stupid the first time. The second time, I'm like, ha, that's stupid. They had to explain to the audience.
They had to explain to the audience that it's a mineral planet after telling the audience it was a mineral planet.
Like, we want to be very clear. This is not Hoth. This is not snow. This is in fact salt, even though we established earlier that it was a mineral planet. And I get it. It looks very similar. Especially with the ice or crystal foxes easily being mistaken for ice foxes.
Yeah.
Like
I can say it could be confusing visually.
Whoa.
sick burn.
Oh. You can't burn it. It's ice.
What's the next point you guys want to talk about? I feel like the rest of my thoughts are pretty much like ending. Not like just like wrap up thoughts.
I got a couple.
I know you guys probably have more stuff.
Zach, I want you to go first.
Let's see.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
The notes.
I brought a notebook.
Oh fuck.
I've jotted a few down on my phone.
If you got a thought, you can go ahead. I think.
There wasn't enough dick in this movie.
Okay, there's two. Yeah, I agree.
No, it's
Really not enough.
Not enough of a sausage fest like I'm used to from other stars.
Could definitely use more docking scenes.
God, it was so diverse and racially diverse.
Where were all the white people?
Where were all the white dudes? What the fuck is happening? Where's my America gone?
Girls in the First Order.
Girls piloting in the Resistance? I can't believe it.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I mean that with all the sarcasm in the world. I'm fucking so happy that they actually have more than stupid white people in charge of fucking pilots.
There was an Asian guy in the First Order. That was incredible. I was like,
wow.
Yeah.
They exist.
Yes.
And then you had them in different positions all over the place. You had the different kind of space pirate death gangs. You had the different people in the First Order. You had the varying different alien and human and humanoid races in the Resistance.
They could have gone a little further and put Poe and Finn in some positions, if you know what I'm saying. That could have.
Gay sex?
Yes, that's what he meant.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, just straight fucking in a cockpit.
What is your actual point?
One thing I feel is very divisive about the movie that I am actually happy about is killing off Snoke and the decision to make Rey unrelated or not related to anyone in the Skywalker family.
That Rey's parents are nobodies.
Yes,
Yep.
That was awesome.
Yeah, the fact that that was an idea running throughout the entire movie, which is
who are parents?
No, not that.
Oh.
Just the fact that greatness can come from anywhere, and you don't have to be part of this great.
You don't have to be a Skywalker to be important.
Definitely.
And that's why I feel like Luke's saying that I'm not the Last Jedi is because he can't stop that.
I see. Mm-hmm. I get it.
There's always going to be someone.
Greatness, yes.
He has no control over that.
That's an interesting perspective on
But
it. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Killing off Snoke, I'm personally fine with it because I know a lot of people were excited to see who he was going to be. I honestly did not give a shit. Snoke was not interesting to me in the first movie. I think Kylo Ren is a more interesting character. Kylo Ren is way more interesting. I'm glad we're focusing on him now.
Yes. Kylo Ren is one of my favorite additions to
he's my
favorite part of the new movie.
Side note, the best acting performance in that movie is Adam Driver.
Oh my god, yes.
And I would say Daisy Ridley as well. She's definitely.
She did great, yeah.
She's definitely.
I love Rey. I love Rey.
Her character was much more complex and interesting than the first time around. But killing off Snoke, I was fine with because personally I did not give a shit about him.
I thought it was it was the greatest never saw that coming.
Yeah, that's. I was happy that
That whole
they put his character to good use.
That whole scene is one of my favorite parts in the whole movie.
Me too, because the second time around, I'm like, this is one of the things I didn't notice for some reason the first time I saw it. But when he's talking to Rey about what Kylo was about to do. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I thought he could visually see what was about to happen. But it was more of like a feeling.
He was sensing his feelings.
He was sensing, it was a feeling of what was going to happen.
He's sensing the feelings in his mind. Yeah.
Kylo Ren was using his...
And that they set that up earlier with... someone's knocking.
Oh, jeez, I better go find out who it is.
Back on the topic of killing off Snoke.
I'm sorry, just real quick, there's a Twitter account for emo Kylo Ren. And this tweet I've just discovered says, "Girl, I am a hyperdrive because I'm broken and I think you should stay here and fix me instead of whatever else it was you had."
Have you seen this comic? It's a comic strip that was going around Twitter. It's a shirt.
Yeah.
Milking
Yep.
Kylo Ren.
Yep. Oh my god.
Yes, I have seen that.
Have you also seen there's a fucking thing, I don't know if it's going around Twitter or not, but I saw it and it was absolutely hilarious. It's like Kylo Ren with his shirt off and he's just like, he's talking to the old man at the beginning from 7. He's just like, "Look how swole you become." And it shows like a Photoshop, like really buff flexing bicep on him. It's so fucking funny.
Kylo has a shirtless scene, and I was like, you know what? Good for you, man.
It's like, yeah, man, he had to work.
You're doing all right. You're doing all right.
What was the?
That was the biggest surprise to me. I'm like, damn, he's
damn. That's
what the fuck were we talking about?
He's a handsome boy
and his death.
Right. Yes.
Killing off Snoke. I thought it was probably. I mean, it was kind of a fuck you to Force Awakens, but I was okay with that.
I'm actually okay with him dying. It's one of those things where I wish that it had been closer to the end of the movie.
I was fine with it where it was.
Where it was is fine. I just wish it was a little bit closer to the end because that's when you kind of.
I think they really wanted the main climax of the movie to be Luke and Kylo Ren
that is far more interesting.
I'm not saying
definitely 100% more interesting.
I'm not saying like put it at the climax. I'm saying like closer towards the climax, so you see like the rage and aggression builds towards that fight.
And like also like, do we really just want to have another trilogy with another fucking like Emperor guy?
No, that's why it wasn't interesting.
Fine. Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
God, that was such a great fucking scene. And they start fighting the Royal Guard together. I was like, oh yes,
that is probably
this is so good.
It is visual ecstasy.
Jesus.
That is one of the best.
Honestly, I kind of want us to get all of our negative shit out first, and then just spend like 40 minutes talking about all the stuff we
want. You got it.
I've already said most of my...
Yeah, me too. Like, all I have left are things that I like about it.
I mostly enjoyed it.
So, I got a couple more, I think, negative points to throw into the ring here.
Just get out of the way, basically.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a few written down.
Let me just go through my notes here.
I didn't take notes, listener, because I'm cool.
I'm
wearing sunglasses.
This is in case I forget. I wrote down salt.
Here we go. I forgot that I wrote this down. We did touch on this earlier, but I guess I put in all caps. Cut the fucking Disney cheese.
I did write porgs during the
yeah, and I have fucking porgs.
Get them out.
Like the Disney cheese that's been bled into from like Marvel, being a part, and like the fact that the humor hits, you can kind of feel that it's kind of wormed its way in unnaturally into Disney's properties because the humor sells with the general audience that kind of go based off of like general audience attraction versus, how to make the movie a specific way. And you can respect it from a business perspective, but at the same time, if it's not in character like we said, it just doesn't mesh, and it's fucking awkward and weird. It takes me out of it personally.
Wait, I'm sorry. What specifically? I was thinking.
Like
out of
like
character humor.
Out of character humor and all that Disney cheese humor. It's just if it's in character or it's done in the right way. Like a good example of where it was done well is like, "No one's from nowhere," Luke says to Rey. It's just like Jakku's like, "Okay, that's no."
Actually, one of my favorite.
That's funny.
One of my favorite lines in the whole movie is a joke where he tells Rey to reach out.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. Oh my god.
That's the Force. It must be so strong in you.
That's totally in character.
So
that
funny.
Would happen.
Because it's just like, God damn it! Like,
I feel like,
literally.
I feel like Pose was in character as well. It was just the joke itself. The joke itself.
It just went on too long.
That's where I mean, like the Disney cheese, where they just keep going too long.
Like
it's
my problem with that scene, the first time I was like, oh, how funny, whatever. The second time I was like, okay, it's great that Poe is making jokes. That's awesome. That's part of Poe's character. We know that already.
Yeah.
The problem is that they made Hux look like an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm still okay with that.
No.
Like, you don't want to be
I mean-
a bridge person.
What I mean is like he doesn't realize that he's getting a joke is being played on it.
Oh, like he's actually.
That scene should have been like half as long. It should have been like, "Hello, can you hear me?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "God damn it, just fucking shoot him down."
Yeah, it's like
right?
blast him out of the sky.
Like he's fucking with me. Like I don't know, whatever. We're getting into like what I would have done, and that's not really.
I think one of the last points I have written down of something I didn't really, not something I hated, but something I wish was kind of explored
Did you
in any
hat
way.
it?
Sorry, what?
Did you had it? Did you?
I don't.
Hat?
I
Put a
Never mind.
top hat.
Never mind. Zach clearly hasn't been going back and rewatching episode 11 of Ushers.
I mean, why would I? Why would I watch what I've made?
That's true. That's fair.
Well, maybe so that way you wouldn't seem so high and mighty and
It
you
is
don't get
already
blasted in the
so.
hate comments.
It is already so. I don't read comments. It's already
Maybe
so
you should-
successful.
Maybe you shouldn't start because, man, I went through and they got some nasty things to say about you, man.
Good. Let their hate feed me.
oh, I get it. Zach is Snoke. Oh. Okay.
Well,
Does that mean he's dead?
No.
Well, I think Snoke was actually a bunch of porgs.
Oh, probably.
It would explain why his face is so.
Anyway,
misshapen.
sorry. What
It
was
makes
your? What
too
was your?
much sense.
what was your actual
It was just one thing I kind of wish they had touched on a little bit. I mean, they. It's when I think was it Chewbacca who tells Luke that Han is dead.
He just
Sort of.
They kind of happens.
He kind of just guesses it. Yeah.
He's like, "Where's Han?" And then you get the cut.
So
and
that's
then you-
something we never really get to see at all. And
His
I don't-
emotions, yeah.
We don't really get to see like Luke mourn one of his
No.
closest friends, and even really Leia mourn the loss of Han. But I don't need like a really long,
like a short,
depressing
quick
scene.
scene,
I just
yeah.
want them to have some emotional reaction
Yeah,
instead of.
just some kind of emotional processing would be nice.
Yeah, and like Chewbacca was like one of Han's closest friends,
He
if not
was
his closest
best
friend.
Yeah.
And we don't really get to
The closest
live in
to
that
see.
mourning at all, which I feel would have been, I don't know, impactful. And we never even really get to see all of those characters truly together again, which is okay, I guess. But I really would have. It would have been a good send off to have them all reunite.
All three just in one scene together. Yeah. Oh man, that's the dream.
Because
fact-
that was my main, not
Maybe they'll,
main
like-
issue. That was like a gripe I had with Force Awakens. It's like, it's cool that Luke is in isolation, but I really wish they all could have seen each other one last
Maybe
time.
maybe they'll like get Harrison. Well, yeah, maybe they'll get like Harrison Ford to agree to like do some cheesy
Flashback.
bullshit scene in the
Oh,
next one where they're
God.
just like all Force
I
ghosts for
mean,
no reason.
I doubt it. I doubt it highly. Harrison Ford.
He's so
Yeah.
done.
He not only is he done, but the fact that he felt like it necessary for him to die to be not only just impactful for the audience but for characters. And it's like, because Harrison Ford, beyond what people think, is actually very smart when it comes to character development and like dynamic change.
Mm.
I mean, he mainly wanted Han Solo to die at the end of A New Hope, but they like brought him back like again and again and again.
No, you mean Empire, right?
I thought it was New Hope.
I know. Well, okay.
They froze him because
I
they
don't know.
weren't sure if he was going to come back.
Yeah,
Oh,
he definitely
okay.
wanted
Sorry,
Han
at least
Solo
that's
to
what I
die.
Yeah, that sounds more right. I'm wrong.
I'm pretty sure he wanted Han Solo to die in Empire, but they weren't sure if they were going to do it.
because the
I'm not
toy
100% on
sales.
that, but
That's just what I heard,
it's
yeah.
fact that Harrison Ford wanted Han Solo to die.
And I thought it would have made a much more impactful statement. It's like, well, of course it would. He's a beloved character, and like it would have led to a whole different like branching, ideas of like what would happen, how people would feel, and it's so interesting. It's where I enjoy choices that create not only like I've been like fucking harping about the entire time, like dynamic characters. They're not just like two-dimension flat whatever the fuck. They are people that can change, and not rapid change. It's gradual change over the course of the movie. It's not I'm this now or I'm this now, which kind of The Force Awakens struggled a little bit with that. Personal opinion. Rey's personality jumped to and fro a little too much for my liking.
Her personality in Force Awakens was kind of.
Yeah,
It wasn't really. There wasn't a whole lot to it. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I mean.
I literally watch it like once every other week.
She was definitely a little more complex and interesting, and had
Yeah,
more
so
of an
a little more
emotional
subdued
range.
this time, which was nice.
Yeah, there was actually some conflict within her character, which there was a little bit in the first one.
Although I can say personally that the sheer number of times they tried to use like I can feel the conflict within you. It's like I can turn you, turn, conflict. It's like we get it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to use the same word too many times to get the same point across. Mm-hmm. Just a personal writing issue that I don't like. That's just me. Because it just stands out too much. Because whenever I write and anything, whether it's
word
too many
times, that pisses me off
Jesus
too.
Christ,
especially within like the next
it
sentence, or
sticks out to me.
I always
like,
hate being like, no, this sentence sounds wrong because I just used this fucking word like a paragraph
or just got the 2 sentences ago. It's like no,
it's
I can't.
It's just a feelings thing.
Yeah, it's a feelings thing. It's the prose of the writing.
Anyway, we're getting into douchey English student territory, so
and like the douchey film students.
Yeah.
We're just getting into douchey like art student.
On the flip side of,
I did think of one more like minor negative like thing I didn't like. The last like thing I didn't really like that much. I want to talk about. Dylan, did you have any other things you wanted to go into?
Let's see. You know, as much as I do enjoy the idea of Snoke dying, and like I already expressed, like the point at which he did die was just kind of like a little off-putting to me. Didn't really enjoy it. I could have enjoyed it like later in the film. Obviously, this is also kind of basing some of my thoughts and feelings based off of the headcanon changes, but I don't want to get into those just yet. The idea that it was mainly the idea that Snoke being just like hype, the fact that the writing from beforehand made him seem so important, and then that they just cut him down. The initial reaction that I have, which obviously a lot of initial reaction from audience members would be probably the same, is like, why would you hype him up if he's just fucking lame? Why is he so powerful but stupidly lame?
That's why it's terrible that they switched directors mid-trilogy. I think that's a terrible idea.
I mean that was the original idea, is to like give him a unique vision, because technically each Star Wars film in the original trilogy had a different director, and it turned out pretty much the general overall overarching like big idea that George Lucas had in mind. Mm-hmm. But you do definitely have two different takes from two different fans, very widely differing fans in the form of J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams being the super fan who wants to go with the feel of Star Wars, and Rian Johnson is like, I want to see it evolve, let's destroy it. Which is awesome. I love the fact that he's willing to do that.
It's just really,
don't do it in the middle of an established convention.
It really conflicts with Force Awakens, because Force Awakens was a very like feel good like
gain the trust.
This is for the fans.
This is for the fans. Gain the trust back.
We're reintroducing Star Wars.
We're sorry for the prequels. Here's episode 7 to make you feel
Force
good.
Awakens was a love letter to Star Wars, and
absolutely.
The Last Jedi was
it's a different kind of love letter.
It is,
yes.
It's like I love
that
Star
you love
Wars,
it.
I love
so I want it to be more.
Yeah, I want it to be more. Yeah, exactly.
And I get that you want it to be more, but like he could have done it in so many different kind of writing ways where it could have been both. But I also feel that's also where Disney stepped in and said, "Hey, you got to do it a certain way."
I don't really know how heavily Disney got involved, because he is the writer and director. So
yeah. I mean, for God's sake, they love his vision and idea so much of breaking Star Wars convention to give him his own trilogy.
I'm sure they had to approve like his final draft. Like, I'm sure he went through like plenty of revisions, but he is still the writer.
Just the fact that like it's in such direct conflict is one of the main reasons I don't enjoy some of the scenes as much. If they had like at least hinted at the idea, like at some point in the movie, beyond the fact that Kylo is, the one thing that they give Kylo as like a reaction to, Snoke is like, I've given everything to you. Mm-hmm. Why would you do this to me? And it's like, that's where you can see like the gears turning, like that small little instance. Because Rian Johnson, I've noticed throughout the movie, is just kind of like putting these little tiny things everywhere for you to try and piece it together. Uh-huh. But the fact that, God, it's as if they didn't even read what's happening at the end of 7, because not only is like Hux supposed to bring Kylo Ren back to Snoke, Snoke even says, bring Kylo Ren to me, it's time to finish his training. By the way, in The Last Jedi, instead of finishing his training, it's like, lol, you're a little bitch, fuck you, I don't like you anymore, fuck off, Kylo. It's like, what? No!
Yeah, that's right, I completely forgot about that.
That's so jarring and just completely, like, it's like, hey,
it wasn't
screw this idea.
It's been a while.
I did like that scene addressed a lot of the like issues that some people had with like, how could Kylo lose to Rey? Because he was fucking messed up from killing his dad 5 minutes.
Yeah, he was emotional. Well, I mean, that was even apparent.
He's an emotional character.
He's an emotional character.
He isn't Darth Vader, and that's his whole fucking
that's
thing.
Why he's interesting.
That's why he wants to be Darth Vader, because he's not.
Because he's not, exactly.
And he's
Darth Vader
to be
could
something
fucking
he can't be.
just mowed through people and not give a shit, but Kylo Ren can't because he's a human.
Yeah,
he has
yeah.
feelings.
He has emotions. He's complicated.
I feel like most people are on board with Kylo Ren.
I hope so, because
and
he's
Adam
fucking
Driver's
great.
I haven't
you know,
really heard too many negatives. The people that I have heard from that don't like him are like, oh, he's a whiny bitch. I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
That's the point.
Yes.
He's supposed to be.
He's not supposed to be likable. He's supposed to be understandable and relatable.
He starts out whiny and bratty so he can develop and grow.
It's so funny. I remember not knowing how to feel about Kylo Ren after seeing Force Awakens the first time, and the more I watched it, the more I liked him.
Oh yeah.
I was like, the second time I was like, wait,
his
hold on,
performance made
he
more
might
and
be
more
awesome,
sense.
and then it was like, oh my god, I love this guy. Like,
It was
holy
just
shit.
jarring the first time he took his helmet off.
Yeah,
Like,
you're just like,
what is
he's the
this?
guy.
Yeah. I definitely feel that in terms of Kylo Ren in general, like not just him being like this emotional guy that, you know, actually is a human being with feelings, but like not just the fact that he was like crippled emotionally during the fight. He was, you know, kind of bringing up an old argument I have with people. He got shot in the fucking spleen with a bolt caster, which the entire movie they show you how strong that fucking thing is by blasting stormtroopers away.
Not only is he a badass for taking that and still fighting, but like, shit hurts, dog.
Yeah,
no,
he punches it. He punches it, lets it bleed so that way he can get some of the endorphins going. It's like, all right, let's fight, and then proceeds to kick ass.
That was one of my favorite parts about that fight. Just getting himself pumped up and like
literally like pumping the blood out of his like freaking shot spleen. It's like, dude, yes.
That was another thing I was like taken aback by the first time I saw it, but that was another thing that got better the more I watched it. I'm like, oh yeah, that does make sense. Like, he'd be getting himself amped up and just trying to like cover his emotional pain with his physical pain.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
there's only one other negative thing I have to talk about before I let you. Sorry.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
So like we've already discussed, you know, Holdo.
Not enough dicks.
Yes.
Sorry.
We covered that.
So we covered Holdo a bit. The other bit of Holdo that I don't like, and I just think it's stupid and ridiculous.
I didn't like her performance.
That's another thing entirely. The entire
I get that.
The entire deal where she has a plan. The plan is in plain sight. It's going to a planet, and you know, sneaking off. Why would she not tell Poe her fucking plan?
No, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, that whole side quest could have been avoided had she just told Poe. Like, I get it that Poe made a rash decision and it blows up in his face, and that's how he kind of grows as a character, but there's so many other ways you could have done that.
Yes. Oh my god, but just the fact that it's like, hey, I have this plan that I've held on to for the past, you know, stare down at the chase clock, 12 hours.
And you know, the thing, like the casino world, I don't even really have a problem with it as a concept.
No.
It's just where it is.
What it's doing.
Its placement in the movie, it's so
dumb.
Misplaced. It's not what anyone cares about.
The casino
in the
world
moment.
in itself is an interesting, vibrant place and an opportunity that is just mishandled and just it completely has almost no real value other than, hey, there's a thing here, get the MacGuffin.
Yeah, like I would have been fine with that being in the movie had it been at a different point in the movie, or just be in a different movie.
Yeah, maybe just in like 9 or something.
Spin-off, or like, I don't know, it felt
Star Wars story.
Not at all related to what was going on.
Maybe in the Han Solo
Benicio
movie.
del Toro, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, I'm all
DJ
down.
Star Wars movie. Don't join. Credits roll.
That's the movie.
Yeah, I'm all down for like sci-fi casino world. Like
dude,
that
it's cool.
Great.
It's fucking cool.
It just had no place in this movie.
And
plus those things from
and as we've discussed before, the fact that they had a chance to go gray or a chance to make a big and impactful decision with Rey's choice, but they went, oh no, it's just light and dark.
Just getting back to light and dark now.
I mean, to be honest though, it's one of the few times, especially with Kylo Ren though, where I've actually felt like inner conflict between the light and dark in a character. It's been a while since I've seen the original trilogy though.
Oh sure.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's more
Invader
explored through.
Yeah, it doesn't really come out until
Kylo Ren.
Luke is getting like lightninged, and that's when you really
like.
start
Of course,
to see
Luke
it,
goes through that, and
but Yeah,
but I feel like it's explored more through Kylo, and it's
it's great. I'm not saying.
Yeah, they didn't go far enough with it. She was
either Rey should have turned to the dark side, or Kylo should have turned back to the light side, or they both should have been like, "Yo,
we're gonna make our own thing."
No,
we're both out.
I was really hoping they would just bail on everything, because that's kind of what that movie was leading up to. It's like, kill the past, fuck everything,
let's start anew, and it's like that would have been fucking cool. And I'm just sad they didn't do it.
Yeah, he's like, we should rule together. I'm like, fucking Ben, come on.
It felt like that's what everything was leading up to.
But then Rey's like, and I'm like, Rey, Rey, choose it, and then she does it. And I'm like, fuck, I'm a Jedi. Damn it.
Yeah, it was more like they're both choosing to not take either side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not one turning to the other. It's both of them just saying, fuck it. This is all stupid.
So now, Zach, what the last thing that you did not like?
I feel like this is going to be my most controversial opinion, I guess. So I love the whole climax with Luke and Kylo. That was fucking rad.
No, that was
shit.
fun.
That's not controversial.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm leading up to something.
Oh.
So Luke's death.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that he died. Like, I don't think him dying in this movie was a bad
I was kind of expecting it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's my problem with it. It felt very much like, and now this is the part where Luke Skywalker dies, and it's like, this is a movie. Like, it didn't feel earned. Which is weird. Like, it didn't feel. It felt very much like, he's gonna die now. Okay, he died.
Well, that was kind of.
I mean,
Luke was saying earlier in the movie to not like idolize like these people as like deities, or like, we're not these great important people.
I guess I wish he had a more
climactic death?
No, not like it didn't.
Like, it felt like it had actual weight, I guess.
I wish it had been more emotional.
Yeah,
well,
I guess that was part of it.
That's the thing, though. Like,
he passed on in peace.
He said no one truly ever goes away.
That's true.
So he was at peace with dying.
One thing
it never really mattered to him, and he wanted to die.
Like, okay, maybe this is a problem with me. I wish I had felt more during that scene where he died.
Yeah,
I didn't really care. I was like, yeah, he's dead. Like, okay.
The only bit of emotion I felt is that, kind of like a callback to A New Hope, where he's staring, listfully,
which is on purpose.
Of course.
Oh yeah,
of course, it's on purpose. That's the only bit that I felt for. But for the actual death, I didn't.
I guess what I'm saying is I wish I had felt more emotional about him dying.
I didn't really get too emotional about.
Maybe that's the point, though. Maybe that's the point. Is that they're like, no, like, don't feel bad. Like, he's be happy for him. He's becoming one with the Force. He's finally at peace.
In the Star Wars universe, dying.
It doesn't really mean anything if you're a Jedi.
It doesn't mean a whole lot.
It does, but the knowledge to pass.
With that, I would love to get into things we love about this movie, and I will start, since this is relevant, with I love that Luke's last line is a Han Solo line.
Yes. Oh my god.
And it's like, oh, that's so beautiful.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
And just the fact that he's saying it to Han Solo's kid. Oh my god.
So great.
I'm personally
so good.
Like, I've heard a few people say, like, they're upset that Luke wasn't actually there and he didn't actually fight.
No, it's fine.
I'm like, whatever about that.
No, I prefer this because
it fits more with him, right?
Yes.
Well, no, it's a much greater display of his potential and his
power,
strength.
Absolutely.
The fact that he can physically project himself across the galaxy
and
maintain his form convincingly enough to buy them time is far more interesting than them just fighting.
Yeah.
And by the way, no lightsabers actually clash this entire movie, which I didn't even realize until
technically,
later.
Kylo and Luke's do in his flashback.
That's a flashback.
Technically, yeah, but yeah, like, whatever. Like, yeah, I like lightsaber fights as much as the next guy, but like,
I'm glad they didn't.
Like, yeah,
that's predictable.
It's not important. Like, you don't need a good lightsaber. You don't need a cool lightsaber fight.
That's more interesting than what, like, because that'd be expected to have them just fight. I would be lying if I said I didn't want to see that, but I'm.
They're saving. I mean, what that tells me is like, oh, don't worry. In the next one, when we finally get that lightsaber fight, it's gonna fucking rule.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's gonna be awesome.
Because it's gonna be two fully trained, just like badasses.
Well, I meant more so Luke.
Oh well, okay, yeah. I meant Rey and Kylo. But anyway, what I really love about that scene too is like, not only is Ryan like Luke giving the audience clues that he's not really there, they're also clues for Kylo. Like it's like okay, are you like level-headed enough and like
to understand,
mature enough to look at this and be like, wait, hold on.
His feet aren't shifting in the salt.
Yeah, his lightsaber's not the right color.
The fact that
he looks like
Kylo
10 years
just
younger.
recently destroyed it. Like
It's all sorts of shit. But it's like, can you see past your anger and your hate? Oh no, you can't. If you strike me down now, I'll be with you forever. Like, you fucking haven't learned anything, kid. See you later.
Mm-hmm. And just pieces out into the universe.
I couldn't help you, and I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can't help you. Like I feel bad about it, but like I'm not gonna waste my time. Like at this point,
and it's like
I'm not here to save your soul.
It reeks of the idea of like no one can help you except you right now.
Yeah,
I don't even think you can do that.
Yeah, you're too far up in your own shit right now, dog.
That was also a great scene where Luke first appears on the battlefield and they just fucking
more
anime moment.
More.
Oh, just all the lasers.
Keep blasting him until
and then it takes Hux like screaming over the intercom. That's enough.
Yeah,
stop. You think you got him?
You think you got him?
That's a bit of in-character humor that I'm okay with.
That was good.
I love that. That was funny, and I enjoyed that.
Speaking of an in-character moment for Hux, that moment where Kylo was passed out on the ground.
Oh my god!
He's so good. He goes for his gun, but Kylo wakes up just shortly before he can reach his gun.
Yeah,
I was like,
Ooh.
You know that he's going to be trying to kill that motherfucker the whole next movie.
Oh,
right?
yes.
He pledges allegiance to Snoke.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't care about Kylo Ren. He hates Kylo Ren.
Yeah, he competes with him as if they're a bunch of, like, bickering brothers for their dad's attention.
Another moment with Luke that I thought was a beautiful moment that didn't feel like fan service, but it was in a way, it was a callback. When he boards the Millennium Falcon and he kind of reunites,
and he already
with
knows how to
R2-D2.
turn it on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and just that scene with the projection of Leia, I'm like, this is nostalgic in the right way. It's not.
I honestly feel like
pandering.
I feel like they put that in
moment.
there as a thing for Carrie Fisher more than.
I don't even really feel that. I mean, he's in the position that Ben Kenobi was.
Yeah, not in a. Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah,
I mean, they did a lot of parallels for him in this one.
That's true.
Except he was much more conflicted than Ben Kenobi, but it's getting over the confliction to become wise.
The good parts of this movie are so fucking good.
Oh, they're so good.
That's why I'm leaning more towards just liking it a lot, because like the great things about this movie overshadow the bad for me. I can look past the casino shit because I know it's gonna be over soon. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like whatever. I hate this part. It'll be over soon.
I don't even hate it. It's just like this is a I don't know.
Whatever.
This is less interesting.
It was worth it to hurt this place.
It's only bad.
You fucking came here for a reason, dog.
It's only bad in context. Of what
now it's worth it. We
on.
released an animal because Disney. Buy the toy.
So yeah, we mentioned it earlier. The whole as soon as Rey comes out of the elevator into Snoke's throne room to the lightsaber being cut in half is fucking great.
Oh.
Everything in there is fucking gold.
Oh, it's visual crack.
We didn't even talk about the hyper jump through the fleet.
No.
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, that's
such a beautiful cinematic moment.
That was beautiful.
So good.
That was fucking beautiful. There's no other word to describe it.
I think
it's
it's funny.
theater if people were dead silent.
Oh, it was so
one fucking
that like
dude.
that instantaneous like of like the audience gasping like at the silence of it happening, and then the one asshole who's just like, "Whoa, what?"
It's like, wow, thanks for
ruining the fucking moment.
You can't internalize your thoughts, you
fucking dumb piece of shit.
Fucking
I'll find
primordial
you.
ape.
I'll find you, guy. I'll kill you.
And
I can do that now. I'm rich.
Yeah, I can hire guys, or I can do it myself. I have money.
I didn't just threaten to kill someone on a podcast.
No,
It's a joke. It's a bit.
This whole podcast is a joke. And then you have that moment, and I think it's funny because this just goes to show how Disney feels about an audience in general, which is fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah,
the fact that
Disney let people know.
Yeah.
No, it's supposed to be silent on that part. It's not a glitch. Don't fucking start complaining. Yeah, there's no sound.
Don't let an audience member
actually.
It's so short that like I can't believe anyone would legitimately think there was some kind of audio problem.
I know.
It's so obviously deliberate.
What Disney feels about general population audiences. They're all fucking dumb and they don't get anything.
It is Star Wars, and Star Wars does appeal to literally everyone.
But I don't know if it would be so much the case, like to the extreme where Disney believes that the audience is so dumb that 10 seconds, not even 10 seconds actually, it's like what, 7 or 8 seconds?
It's not that long, like really.
It's like 7 or 8 seconds of silence.
It doesn't feel that long at least.
Yeah, if it is 10 seconds of silence, 10 seconds of silence is nothing in a
The sound
movie.
is only cut out the moment
Yeah, she
cut
did.
through the ship, and there's like 2
Yeah.
seconds
Oh my
of silence,
God.
and the sound comes back
fucking
in.
It was
pointed.
just as awesome the second
No,
time.
Yes.
that's probably one of the best scenes in the movie.
It is.
Oh,
It
God.
really
The
is.
fact that
Oof.
Holdo was the one doing it.
That
I feel
is disappointing.
That is a missed opportunity
For
to have
Carrie Fisher.
To Carrie Fisher or Akbar, even, who I didn't even realize was killed off screen. Well,
Yeah.
he was not killed off screen, but he got sucked out into space and was.
There is
hardly
unfortunately
mentioned.
a reason for that. Like pretty much before they even got like a quarter way through the filming of Last Jedi, the guy who played Admiral Akbar died.
Didn't stop him from fucking bringing Tarkin back though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because
We're
they
not
probably
talking
looked at
about that.
they probably looked at Rogue One and looked at the response to like all the CGI'd faces and went like, let's
they
probably
could've-
not do that.
Yeah, but the thing with Akbar though is like he's
a guy
It's
in
a
a
costume.
suit.
You can have someone imitate him, but that's not. I don't really care about Akbar too much, but a lot of people do, and that would have been a good send off for his character. But this whole movie is about fuck the past. Like let's
Yeah,
kill
exactly.
it, kill it if you have to.
yeah, pretty much. Which that's cool, but I don't know. I feel like he could have gotten something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole throne room fight,
Oh, so good.
like,
All the
Amazing.
different kinds of laser-based weaponry, the fucking whip swords and the
people were
the
getting
fucking glaives and the
Yeah, it was
so
nice.
fun.
Yeah, it was nice to see like the guards actually doing something.
The fact that they had like
just Rey and Kylo
laser
working
resistant
together.
armor, like wrapping their arms around the freaking like
That was
spike
cool.
sword to like drive the spike into Rey's neck, trying to do that. Ah,
Oh, and the second,
Jesus Christ!
the last death in that scene where Kylo Ren
Just turns the lights
Oh.
down and turns it back up. Yeah.
so good.
I don't think they haven't done that yet, have
Nope.
they?
No, they've
That's
never done
Something
that.
I've always wanted to see.
It's so it's so good. Especially, I finally got my wish because one of my main issues I had with the lightsaber fight in
Force Awakens.
in Force Awakens was the fact that Disney was like, I don't know how I feel, but people getting dismembered or getting their hand cut off. Dude,
Someone gets-
people got their fucking head cut off or like blasted
Some
straight
guy
through.
got kicked into like a turbine
yeah,
and got
yeah, fucking
shredded.
Shredded. Oh,
That was cool.
Fucking hell.
it was so much. It's also my opinion best lightsaber fight choreographed scene ever.
Yeah, I would agree with
It was
that.
really good.
Also, the end of that scene.
All practical fighting with given the weapons that they had.
Oh, that wide shot.
Oh, the
them
wide
just-
shot of the slow motion start into like the actual
Oh
like.
yeah. Boner fuel.
That's how you do a fight scene.
That's how you do a
That's
fight
how you
scene.
do a fight scene with multiple attackers, and that's how you show someone's like physical and skilled superiority over the other.
Yeah, Kylo's like fighting three at once, and
And
Rey's like
kicking their ass.
struggling to.
Yeah,
Because she's
one
not
or two.
trained. And it's
Yeah.
like there
Yeah.
you go. You see his prowess in action.
I love Kylo's like
Style.
yeah.
Because it's actually like medieval
yeah.
classic longsword fighting stances. That's why I loved the idea of like him fighting using his lightsaber in episode 7.
I remember being so like weirded out by the crossguard lightsaber.
I was so
at first.
excited. I was
That
so
sounds-
excited when I
and now
first
I'm just
saw
like,
it.
that's
no, it's
fucking,
great.
That's fucking.
I
cool.
was so
Like, I don't
excited.
know.
I'm glad he actually got to use the
Crossguard.
yeah, the crossguard in the first one.
Yeah, the fact he used it to like burn into like Finn's shoulder was
Yeah.
really nice.
I'm like, oh, it actually. I mean, it's cool that there actually is like.
A purpose.
There's a reason for
Yeah.
it. Just like their exhaust events.
And then
So, like,
just the fact in general that I love his lightsaber's design. I love the fact
It's
that he's.
pretty
That
badass.
he's
Yeah,
I love the fact
crackly.
that he chooses, even after his first one is destroyed, he chooses
It
to
isn't
recreate
destroyed.
it.
He modifies it into his new one.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, that's what I've heard. I'm not a fucking scene by scene analysis guy, but people have been saying if you look at it, because there's a scene where they show a close up of the lightsaber.
Oh yeah, it's like completely blacked out this time.
Yeah. Like people are like, oh yeah, like if you compare it, it's just his old one, but with like extra stuff added onto it and shit like that.
Hmm.
So it's his
Yeah.
Jedi lightsaber.
I'm excited to see Rey
Oh,
finally
it's so-
build her own lightsaber.
Oh my god, yeah. I hope they don't just make it like blue or green. I hope they give her a new color.
I'd be down with like a yellow lightsaber.
that'd be
that was what I
bitchin'.
used all
Yeah.
the time in Knights of the Old Republic.
Yellow and orange are my favorite lightsaber colors. I think.
Yeah. Oh,
Purple's
man.
cool and all, but like
Or
I don't know.
would it be? I think it'd be cool if she got like a white one.
The white
like,
would be cool.
White would be neat, yeah.
yeah, because there's no.
Might not be the most interesting to look at though.
No, that is true. It's just the fact of like what it represents is really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
The fact that like most like gray Jedi have, because of like their force, using I guess now because kyber crystals are fucking sentient.
Yeah.
Interacting with the kyber crystal with your version of the force kind of implements like what kind of blade is emitted. So if you like turn to the dark side, the idea is that if you concentrated hard enough, you could make your kyber crystal, quote unquote, bleed, and that turns red. I don't really like that explanation, but I think the fact that you can influence the color of your lightsaber just from sheer force of will alone is interesting.
Maybe. Yeah.
The idea of it being sentient, though, is dumb.
They
don't really get into that in the
No, I don't think it's important to the movies. That's probably just some side lore.
It's side lore. It's side lore that I find interesting.
It's really just to distinguish who's good and who's bad on screen.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because otherwise it's a bunch of clashing lights. You're like, wait, what the fuck's happening?
If they didn't go with a non-traditional good guy Jedi color, that would be another
so great.
that would be another way for them to show that they're
branching off.
They're trying to. They want to go in a more is light always good and is dark always bad? Who knows?
Who knows? So going back into that visual scene, that visual just delicious smorgasbord of ambrosia and boners of a fight scene. Mm-hmm. The fighting styles, each one of them using, being appropriate to their weapon, being appropriate to a certain degree also with what style of armor each one of those Royal Guard had, fucking amazing. Yeah, just because I'm a huge fan of choreography that fits with the kind of weapon you have, and then the fact that the weapon and the armor seems to reflect the thing that they're trying to do, the fact that you have that double bladed glaive breaking off into two different blades to fight Rey. Mm-hmm. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, I loved. I don't know. I don't really recall him doing it as much in Force Awakens, but the fighting stance Kylo Ren kept taking, where he'd look down the blade.
Yep, that is straight up medieval long swordsmanship, and I fucking love that shit so much.
That was really cool.
That's what the fact that he actually digs the lightsaber into the ground is because it has
sparks and shit. Yeah,
because every single strike has weight. Because as a long swordsman, you have to strike with weight and purpose. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, someone can get past your defenses, or they're not going to be able to keep their defense. They're going to be able to keep their defense up unless you're able to knock their blade away and then dig in. It's the fact that they kept to such a degree of long swordsmanship style with his fighting, just the fucking pull the lightsaber out from behind, take that squatted angled stance with igniting his lightsaber towards the ground is the best goddamn thing every time I see it.
Yeah,
it always.
I just love that every strike he made was really brutal and really forceful and.
It just
violent.
It fits so well with the fighting style, and I love it so much.
And Rey is a little more elegant in being
being used to a bow staff.
Yeah, which that'd be kind of interesting if they incorporated the bow staff in some way into her new lightsaber.
The easiest way is for her to have a double-bladed lightsaber.
Huh?
The easiest way is to have her build a double-bladed lightsaber.
Oh yeah, I mean she has two pieces.
Yeah.
Now, so I don't know if she's gonna reuse that.
I hope not. I hope she just builds her own. That's what I would like.
Yeah.
To get away from the whole
just
Skywalkers. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That should be
that
the
was
symbol.
The whole point of them destroying it.
Yeah.
It's they fought they are fighting for the past, and they've both destroyed it in a symbolic way by destroying Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah,
Anakin's lightsaber.
I'd be interested to see them incorporate some
forgot about that
new design of lightsaber that isn't just the typical one.
That'd be dope.
Because I don't know about you.
Maybe she wouldn't even use lightsaber. Maybe she used guns. Who fucking knows?
Dude, speaking of which,
I'm the Jedi that uses guns now.
Speaking of which, where the hell are the Knights of Ren? I wanted them in this movie.
They're gonna be in the next one or inside movies. You just have to accept it.
I know. I don't want to though.
They just weren't important to this movie.
But
they weren't even really that important.
You've seen them in one scene.
Okay, the fact that they're all, as this movie has said, they are all presumably Luke's former students. Mm-hmm. And the fact that each, presumably in that idea, have Force sensitivity or have the ability to use the Force, and they use different weapons entirely from traditional lightsabers. A guy's got a Buster Sword, one has dual pistols and shit. It's so intriguing. What the fuck are they gonna do? What do they have? Oh my god!
Nothing yet.
Yeah, I really hope it doesn't just end up being that they were the Royal Guards, but
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what someone told me, and I wanted to punch them in the face. That better not be true.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think that he would have them be the Royal Guard. I think he would have already had the Royal Guard in place before that.
Well, I mean, who knows? Like, if that was the case, then maybe he saw the most potential in Kylo Ren and needed a use for the others.
I guess.
Meh.
But they would have actually used the Force.
Regardless,
that's
they weren't in this movie, so it's not really...
Yeah.
There's no real point in talking. We don't know what their plan is, so there's not really much point in talking about it.
But the one thing I do want to like kind of hop back into Force Awakens for is an idea I have that I don't know if you guys would believe in it or like what you take away from this, but I just want to share it with you. So during like the Force vision that Rey has after touching the lightsaber, and you see like the destroyed remains of like the temple, and you see like the Knights of Ren behind Kylo as he like stabs a dude in the rain. What I think that actually is a flash forward in the midst of a flashback. I think it's a flash forward to what's going to happen in 9, where someone's actually going to try, who's like a part of like this different kind of, maybe still part of like the Jedi, quote unquote religion, like the Force sensitive monks, or just the monks that believe in it in its entirety. Like one sees what Rey is, like really, or what she represents, and tries to kill her, and like Kylo stabs him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, what was the rest of that vision? It was her like on.
It was her actually like going through the events that the fractured events, obviously, of what led to Kylo Ren turning to the dark side, the Knights of Ren being formed, and the burning of the temple, and then like a bit of her showing up on.
She was on a ship or something at some point, right? She was in some hallway.
I think that was supposed to be her on Starkiller Base.
Yeah, supposed to be her on Starkiller Base, represented, and like you hear like Darth Vader's like breathing in the background. But it's too strange for me. I don't know if that's one of those points that they just kind of ignore in 8 instead, or if it actually is like a representation of like a flash forward.
I felt like the implication in Force Awakens was that it happened in the past. But I don't know. I mean, J.J. Abrams is taking on Episode 9, so...
Yeah.
We'll see what he does.
Who knows?
Yeah. But anyway, back on to things that are fucking amazing about 8. I don't know about you, but that fucking dreadnought, dude.
That was pretty cool.
I love it.
Yeah,
The fact that
it was
like,
comically large.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was a
no,
bit
no, no,
much.
no. What was comically large was Snoke's fucking ship.
Snoke's ship
Yeah.
was ridiculous.
It's like, hey, how can we take an Executor class fucking Star Destroyer and make it more ridiculous? Oh, I get it. Let's not make it stupidly long. Let's make it stupidly wide.
Yeah, I mean, it made it that much more satisfying when they
blasted through it. Yeah.
That made for a cool visual.
It also explains how getting shredded to pieces. You don't instantly die on the entire thing. It's wide.
I honestly didn't really think too much of the Dreadnought just because it wasn't really on screen for too long.
It was neat.
I was like, it's like a giant Star Destroyer. That's cool.
It's just one of those things where like I enjoy the fact when they revealed new tech in the Star Wars universe, and I love the fact that like it carried in a bunch of like basey weight as it like warped in from
That was
space.
cool, but I couldn't get the idea out of my head that it's just like it's what they did with Starkiller Base. It's just like it's the Death Star but bigger. And this is a Star Destroyer, but it's bigger.
And it's one of those things that trust me, I have that same feeling, but I also kind of sit there and go, you can't really deviate too much from what works in terms of military like.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I suppose.
Like I'm fine with it. It just didn't really impress me. It was like
it would have been more impressive and actually intimidating if it wasn't just so laughably easy for Poe to destroy it.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. They used one bomber and Poe to take out this massive ship. That's like, well, it doesn't even really matter that it's massive.
Well, to be fair, they did say that they had to drop the bombs on a specific point to cause like a chain reaction or whatever.
No.
Speaking of tech and stuff, I really enjoyed the ragtag tech that they strapped onto Poe's X-wing, so he has the ability to like charge a booster and like blast off at like really intense like sublight speeds to get in really close.
It was cool to see him like pull like a drifting move.
Oh
too.
Yeah, oof.
That was cool. I'm like, yeah.
Like, oh hey, these are enhanced, new, modified like X-wings. They have interesting like purposes now.
I honestly just even love that his X-wing is black.
Yeah,
it's such a minor thing.
Yeah,
but it looks cool.
I mean, he like his actual call sign I think is like Black Leader, right?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know if they ever say it. I think they just call him Commander or whatever. I have no idea. I don't really catch small details like that.
Oh God, what else was really good about that movie?
I'm having trouble thinking of anything else, not just because...
Yoda.
Oh, yeah, Yoda.
Yoda.
The fact that they attempted to make him actually look as close to the original as possible.
He was actually a fucking
great.
puppet.
Yeah, that was rad.
Yeah. Oh, and he actually behaved like he did in that. He wasn't like some warrior.
Boring fucking prequels Yoda.
Actually, that was probably one of my favorite scenes visually. Is just them sitting there watching the tree burn.
Yeah.
Like, that's a beautiful visual, and it
Yep.
representative
and kind of like shows how strong.
Of the movie. Like, it's just like, yep, fuck the past. Like, we're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it all.
Except for the fact you see the text in the Millennium Falcon later.
Yeah, that's true. But it makes sense that she has to build her own lightsaber.
Yep, and she has to build her own knowledge of the Force more than what she already has.
Yeah.
To a degree, anyway. Given what Yoda said, saying that, she already has everything she needs without the text anyway.
Yep, and that's why, going back to why Luke's saying he's not the Last Jedi, it's just like, this is just gonna happen whether I intervene or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Rey took it upon herself to steal the Jedi.
To carry it on.
Yeah.
Now, you guys find anything else fun?
I don't really. I feel like I kind of don't really have much left to say, honestly.
Let me take a look here.
Talked for a long time.
Because I do have like a couple more things that are just kind of like, check out this fucking conspiracy level like tin hat bullshit that I have to say.
Oh boy.
I wrote down no fucking Death Star again.
Oh,
that was
thank God.
Yeah, although they did have the battering ram cannon, which was Death Star technology, but that's as close as it got.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's like, we just kind of made choices.
Oh, that's the Finn, not killing off Finn.
Yo,
that scene.
that was actually an issue.
It's fine. Like, I'm fine with it now. First time around, like, that could have been a really impactful moment and would have given his character a little more purpose, or at least, a reason to be in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also not opposed, however cheesy the line was, with the message that Rose.
Yeah, I get what they were trying to do.
I like the message.
Yeah,
the way that they delivered that line was a little cheesy.
It felt kind of out of nowhere.
I can't help but feeling that would have been better, okay, so I know I'm the one who was giving Dylan shit for playing the in my head canon game, but let's assume in that scene, a similar scene happens in the version where it's Poe and Finn having a buddy cop adventure. Would that have been a better scene if it was Poe saying no, we can't kill what we hate, we have to save what we love.
Yeah.
And it's Poe who's just learned I can't sacrifice my friends to beat them. That's not how we're gonna win.
I can't.
Then they're both learning a lesson.
Yep. And then they make out.
And then they make out. Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Exactly.
Whatever.
And then they still kiss, and then Ray's still like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" And it's like, Ray, you don't know Finn at all.
No. No.
I don't.
You've known him literally
in fact, you
3
barely
days.
know each other.
But yeah, that would have definitely made it a lot better.
Anyway, I don't like playing the here's how I would have done it game too much, just because I've never made a fucking movie before. So
see, I don't.
Just a hit TV show.
Yeah. Well, that's Netflix
goes without saying.
series. It is a different beast, though.
Yeah.
And we are very rich and very famous.
Yeah.
And very happy.
Course.
Once again, very happy.
Very happy.
So happy.
Money buys happiness, guys.
Yeah. Don't let anyone tell you differently.
Money buys.
If someone tells you that money doesn't buy happiness, they're probably poor. So.
Fucking poor
There you
piece
go.
of shit.
I hate poor people.
I love this new tax incentive. I love it.
What was
It
it?
makes me more rich.
What was I talking about?
Rose and Finn.
So
Right.
Finn.
Yeah, their romance is fucking.
I don't even know if it was. Yeah, I don't know.
So forced.
It's forced.
Didn't have to.
I don't.
Yeah, it was really only implied to be a romance at
When
the
she
very
fucking
end when
kissed
she
him.
kissed
Yeah,
him.
that's what I mean by
That's why it felt forced. Yeah. It just
Yeah.
came out of nowhere.
It's something that
I
develops.
guess Finn at least looked shocked about it, so at least it wasn't reciprocated.
Yeah.
But then I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think this movie needed a romance subplot.
No, it was fine where it was.
It was already dealing with conflicting like
conflicted emotions.
emotions
of,
and not
dealing
knowing
with
what
the
to believe
past.
and stuff. We don't need to detract from that by being like, oh, but also love story.
Yeah, I mean, it was mainly dealing with, hey, we're the generation that has to live up to, the generation before, but at the same time we keep getting rejected and treated like shit.
Yeah.
We have to deal with that emotionally first.
And like this is coming from a guy who like fucking loves romance. I'm a fucking sappy romantic bullshit fucking garbage person.
If it's done well, it's done well.
But,
it's really nice.
Yeah, this was like, yeah, that didn't need to be there.
No.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't force that on Rey.
Jesus Christ. Although they
Yeah.
hinted at it, kind of.
Yeah,
Well, it was never really like. I mean,
don't-
they only the only person who really expressed interest in that relationship was Finn, and it wasn't really.
It was more just like,
Oh, no,
hey,
no,
pretty
I-
girl. Like, I think I'll, like, you know, hit on her. You know,
No. Like they do a little subtle thing at the end of Last Jedi that they're trying to like very
Where Rey's like
cautiously.
watching Finn and like Tuck Rosen or whatever.
Well, no, not even that. Kind of like the interaction between Poe and Rey was weird, and it seemed like they're trying to hint at something that
I didn't even realize until that moment that they hadn't met yet.
Yeah.
I completely forgot.
I didn't really get that.
I don't know, just
feeling.
going based off of like cinematic cues and like the fact that they try and do this generic like B story bullshit is where
you think they're gonna force those two together?
I really hope they don't.
I didn't
It's
get
just,
that.
There's just one of those like really like I don't know. There's just something about how their interaction just went relatively like a romantic comedy awkward kind of exchange. We're like, hi, I've never met you before.
It felt
Yeah, I
like to
didn't
me
like it.
like, oh shit,
Didn't like that.
that's right. These characters haven't technically met yet, so we should probably address that.
Yeah,
That's what it is. That's
It's
all
just-
it felt
I
like
guess
to
that
me.
awkward exchange came off to me kind of like this romantic comedy feel. I just don't.
It
like
came off to me like the salt line. It's just like we
Yep.
kind of just need to explain this
Yeah.
for the audience or address it for the audience because they're not smart enough.
So now that we've kind of gotten most of the negatives
I
and
think
positives out of the way,
The meat.
I'm
is pretty
fairly
much
certain
true.
I've got some
things.
little tiny things, like little details that I noticed watching it a second time. So, and this is all for the most part. I think at least 60% of these, maybe even 70, are like fucking crackpot, goddamn like aluminum foil hat conspiracy shit that I have.
Aluminum natty.
Yep, absolutely. Aluminium naughty.
It was an Illuminati joke.
Yeah, I know, I got you. So the pool at the Jedi Temple. Did you notice that the humanoid figure in that pool looks like Snoke?
No.
I didn't
really get a I didn't really get a clear look at it.
Like it looked eerily like Snoke, and it's ridiculous to me that I went, huh.
Oh, I think I heard a theory somewhere that people are saying that Snoke is actually like the first Jedi or something.
Yeah, like he's the first Jedi, and he like
fell to the dark side or whatever.
he like either fell to the dark side or like went to the dark because he found a way to like balance to have supreme
And then
power.
the most popular theory I think is that he's Darth Plagueis, right?
I don't think that's
think
it.
it is.
No, not really.
I mean, according to Palpatine, Darth Plagueis is dead.
Yeah.
Like he's the one who killed him, which
Yeah.
I think is honestly more interesting.
Yeah, I think that Snoke is like either the first Jedi or he's just a random person who
I think he's just a
became
new
attuned to
character,
the void.
The voice.
The voice. He became attuned to the voice. And he's able to use lightning on the ground. By the way, his abuse of Force lightning to just single blast Kylo—that was another thing I fucking loved.
That was
Just-
cool. It's also interesting.
He's like, shut up.
Also interesting to
Blasted.
see him use the Force from across the galaxy.
Yes.
With Hux.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Oh yeah,
fucking,
which
like,
once again just
drag
makes
them
Luke's
and-
feet at the end even more impressive. Right?
Yes. Oh, so just all that like cross galaxy like Force using shit is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like I look at the, you look at the pool and it looks like Snoke. The idea that he's the first Jedi, fell to the dark side, learned the secret of the Force and is staying alive somehow. Kind of the thing that I got from Snoke and kind of explaining how he had contact with Kylo, considering he never really was able to like physically be there, is like he has the ability to like bridge minds. I believe that he's actually a Force entity, and that's not actually his real body, but a projection that got cut in half. That's like
possible.
It's like a possible It's a possible theory that I'm not entirely sure.
No, I mean
if they'll continue with that.
That theory could hold true just because like throughout the movie they established that you can transmit like physical matter through those means, like when Kylo Ren his hand was wet with the rain from the islands, like you can, and then the dice and the fact that Luke kissed Leia on the head and she thought he was actually there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think it's too absurd.
Yeah.
Which is when the first time I saw Luke's death, I thought he was actually injured, like by Kylo's lightsaber. But that line with Kylo early on, where he's like, "There's no way you're doing this yourself. The effort would kill you."
Yeah, that's another good explanation for like you can't do this. This is way too much strain.
Yeah, that's why it's
Luke.
impressive
that
Luke can do that.
Yep. Yeah. But like beyond that whole entire like Force entity thing, like I almost believe that if it's a Force entity thing, that explains why Luke would have such a horribly dark vision of what Kylo Ren would do, falling from grace as Ben Solo, because how like he was able to see the good in Darth Vader, able to see the good in his father. What fucking horrifying thing would he have had to see in order to convince him to nearly murder his nephew?
Well, considering he's now the supreme leader,
yeah,
I imagine we're gonna get into some dark shit.
And then I don't know if this is just like the trick of like, you know, my eye or whatever, but the fact that it looked like for a moment in one of the flashbacks, I couldn't tell whether it was the glow of Luke's lightsaber or if his eyes were actually like yellow.
I think it was probably just the glow of Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that because I was wondering like, was Luke's perception of what's going on influenced by Snoke in some way, because Snoke is extremely powerful, able to influence things across the galaxy, and that was what was happening, or not.
I see what you're saying. Like you influenced Luke in that moment to get
turn
Kylo fully on his side.
Yeah.
That's actually interesting. That,
like, even if he's not a Force entity, if he had the power to act across the galaxy, maybe that was what was happening, but I don't know.
I don't know if he could influence them in that way by like actually manipulating their thoughts.
I mean, who knows? I mean,
because
we literally know nothing about him, and we never will.
Yeah,
because he's been cut in half. And he's fucking dead.
Yeah, I'm fine honestly with
books,
him.
But on the movie. We'll get some books or comics.
I'm fine with him dying.
I'm okay with him not
in order to expand and develop Kylo Ren.
I think it's a good.
Yeah, it was a good opportunity for Kylo Ren to grow.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, the one thing that I guess I kind of got like annoyed with is just because I'm a huge consistency guy. At least make him look the same in both movies.
I honestly didn't even like I said, it's been a while since I've seen Force Awakens, but I saw a clip from a scene in Force Awakens where it's his hologram. I'm like, oh shit, they look
way too different for my personal liking, but that also kind of lends itself to the idea of kind of Force projection to a degree.
I don't mind it too much, especially when you consider like, I mean, the prequels aren't exactly the greatest movies ever made, but Episode 1 was Puppet Yoda, and then from there on out, he was fully CG.
And then they fully replaced him, digitally replaced him in Episode 1 to look like the other ones.
Yeah, oh, did they really?
Yeah, that's and then the special release of Phantom Menace, they fully fucking replaced that shit.
That's funny.
Because Lucas is just like, no, just get rid of it. Nah, get rid of it.
Well,
God, what else? I don't know if I have.
I have a few. I have like two like minor things on here that I like. Mostly being that like the Resistance actually suffered like major casualties, and it felt like there were actually stakes and that they might actually be wiped out.
Yeah,
they basically were.
The fact that they're picking off all of those ships and there was just like a small handful of people left, I'm like, all right, this is actually interesting. And then the I can't think of what they're called.
The
New Order, or not New Order, First Order.
Yeah.
The First Order actually suffered some pretty heavy casualties as well, with the whole jump into hyperspace deal,
like
and losing their leader. And it's like, that's interesting. They're both sides are starting from the rubble,
from nothing basically.
And I have a feeling that this is gonna make Episode 9 like the war to end all wars in Star. This is Star War. This is all of the war.
Until Episode 10 or 11 or 12.
I really hope it's not fucking connected to these guys.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, it would kind of. Well, I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, I don't really care. Like,
Although,
If you consider it to be like an overarching like storyline, which is why they would be numbered episodes, then it's probably related in some way to the events of the previous ones.
I just didn't think they would actually do like 10, 11, and 12. I thought they'd do like 7, 8, 9, and then do like anthology films.
Oh, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna come out right after like whatever, but they're gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Star Wars isn't going away.
I gotta say, I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually kind of intrigued to see what happens with that kid at the end.
I'm more excited about that, honestly. Like, I felt like this movie was the end of the trilogy in a way. For the most part, there's a few things that need to be wrapped up with Rey and Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that's kind of the last thing that needs to be resolved, but other than that, it felt like kind of the end already. I am more interested in the shit that's completely unrelated to any of this. Because, like, this shit's been going on in their world for, like, 30 years.
Oh, God.
It's just like, let's just explore something new.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm excited for Rian Johnson's take on a different part of the galaxy entirely.
Yeah.
At least, trilogy.
Yeah, at least in that way, we don't have to worry about like
this is breaking the idea of like characters and da-da-da. It's like no, it's his own blank slate.
They'll be his characters. So,
and I'm okay with that. I'm actually excited for that. I would love to see what he has to offer for the Star Wars universe as a whole with his own blank slate to work with.
Yeah, I'm happy and fine with what we got, but I honestly think they should have stuck with one director for this trilogy. I know, like, it worked in the past, but I feel like
it unfortunately kind of clouded what happened because
it felt like there was a specific vision, even though there wasn't really. I heard rumors that, like, it's all just fucking rumors and speculation, but like JJ didn't really have anything planned beyond The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
like that's just what he set up, and it's in someone else's hands, which is what happened.
Yeah,
but I feel like they really should have just let. Because I'm sure he had ideas of what those characters were going to go on to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so I feel like they really should have just stuck with that.
Like, actually, like, yeah, keeping a director, but having like different writers, having Rian Johnson for a writer.
Yeah, like same director, but bring on new writers and stuff, but still keep that through line of that one cohesive vision, and that way then you go into a new trilogy and maybe have that just be one director. So.
I mean, the
trilogies can all be different from each other, but I feel like each trilogy should be
like
cohesive.
Composition.
There needs to be like a vision throughout one trilogy.
And that's kind of why actually my skepticism kind of subsided about J.J. Abrams coming back after seeing like how jarring it was having like a very different opinion of the Star Wars universe of a Star Wars fan directing the movie.
Yeah, that was interesting to see. Two sides of
just very widely like differing sides of the same coin.
Yeah, it kind of just felt like JJ built this like huge stack of cards like this.
And Ryan just the bottom card.
Just knocked it over. It's like clean it up.
Clean it up, bitch.
It's your problem now.
Have fun, nerd. And walks out of the room.
Well, do we have anything else to talk about?
I mean, we've already talked about Ushers enough.
Yeah. I feel like that kind of happened. That kept popping up a little more than I.
We plugged that.
I mean.
Yeah. I mean, some people. You'd be surprised how many people don't watch the show.
Well, like I don't know. People are busy. Look at us. We're busy.
If you haven't heard of the show, then you're probably dead. So. I feel like we don't really need to.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable like advertising for like
everyone
are
already
dead.
knows.
I don't want to get political, guys.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
I like my brain where it is. Okay, there I said it.
I'm not.
I like my brain where it is.
Ignorant. Wow.
You know, fuck you.
It's your opinion. You're allowed to have it, but just wow. But I don't want to alarm you guys, and I'm gonna be truthful. I've been experimenting with getting Nielsen ratings and a bunch of different kind of viewings from Undead because I've been kind of working on a couple revive spells.
What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Trying to get some undead viewers.
The bit has lost me. I've lost the bit.
I just meant the only way you could possibly have not heard of the show is if you're already dead.
It turned into a conversation about like undead people.
I feel like I made a joke.
I mean, the joke's lost.
Yeah, we lost it.
I wasn't joking.
I know you weren't. We were joking.
We were joking.
We were trying to joke and it didn't work.
See,
and here we are.
This is why our jokes and our really good writing skills come into play in the show, because we're not as good off the cuff.
See, that's why I get to direct Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's why you got to, and then you chose to reject like the freaking latter like 6 seasons because you're like above that shit.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I'm also taking over the novels as well.
George R.R. Martin likes to call you like every weekend and talk about
he
ideas.
asks me for notes all the time.
I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this yet, Zach, but I've heard rumors that you've actually been asked to direct your own trilogy of Star Wars movies.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Okay.
In this podcast.
If
on Twitter, however, I will absolutely confirm or deny that.
If it is true, can I get a little cameo? Can you get a little cameo?
Oh,
Come on.
the very pointed bookmark being placed.
Just like a back. I don't even have to have a line. Just
God!
I'm afraid this.
I've only seen him slam his notebook shut like that one.
Let's say the script, if there was one, is already finished.
How much gay sex is in the script?
It's exclusively gay sex. Now,
so
wait, are you
doing
gay porn, not actually Star Wars?
look, I'm a hack.
It's fine if you...
I'm a hack.
Boy.
I'm not actually a director. I pay someone to do it.
I direct porn parodies of...
You direct porn parodies of our show.
Which is weird.
Our show is a porn parody.
Is it?
And then I just kind of just look it through. Shit, it is.
With it all seriousness,
how the hell have I never seen that?
And there's a lot of sexual tension throughout the show, and it will pay off in season 2.
In all seriousness, guys,
With
go
Bradley
check out Ushers season 1 on Netflix, our hit original Netflix series. We're very proud of it. Like all jokes aside, we're very, very proud of how it turned out.
It took a lot of years worth of effort to work, get it all together, get the proper.
It's only
crew.
12 episodes. It should only take you about 53 hours to watch.
54-ish.
Well, it's actually
the
20
intros.
It's 20,
I guess
It's actually 25 hours if you skip episode 6.
Well,
I feel episode 6 is.
I mean, it's pivotal.
I think it's our
pivotal.
strongest episode. It's the
strongest
linchpin of the whole plot.
Which kind of makes it all the more annoying that the fact that the linchpin is followed by like the weakest episode in the entire fucking season.
You know, like I said, everyone's.
I feel like Robert Downey Jr.'s performance more than made up for the lacking story elements of the episode.
No one is questioning that at all. It was marvelous to work with Mr. Robert
Downey Jr.
It was really interesting.
RDJ.
It was really interesting watching him getting back into like the mental headspace of when he was back on cocaine in like the 80s.
Yeah.
While not taking it.
I'm starting to feel like maybe that was kind of a bad call on our part. Like that was maybe it might have been a little uncool.
Hell of a method actor.
Yeah,
dude. Like, hey, can you like act like what? You know,
and we all did cocaine as well to get in the headspace of a character like that.
Dude, I wrote every single episode in like an hour.
And to
I don't remember half of what I've written for season 2.
We offered him some, and he was like, "No thanks, I'm clean now." And we're like, mad respect, respect.
And then we all looked at each other, looked at the writing table.
I felt shame. I'll admit it. I felt deeply ashamed.
And then the shame went away when you did the coke. Because you feel better. You feel more confident in yourself.
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure how much of the footage for season 2 is actually usable, but we filmed a lot.
All I remember is that we filmed enough in a single take, guys, to fill up.
I've never gotten so much work done on
hard drives.
I don't want to
advertise or condone cocaine because I do.
Well,
I don't either.
I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say there may or may not be several episodes that take place entirely in the dark.
Oh my god.
We get a little experimental.
It gets a little crazy, and it's great. It's great.
And I will neither confirm or deny the existence of time-traveling Roman soldiers.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it for us.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to whatever the fucking shit that was.
Yeah.
Half of it was coherent, half of it was not. That's fine.
All we know is that there's...
this movie.
I only know one truth. It's time for this podcast to end. And...
Bye.
Yeah. But later. Oh, is that supposed to be like the cut?
Closing the books.
We didn't
this one.
We didn't come up with a
case closed.
Call sign. We didn't come up with like a sign off phrase.
It's gonna be. My
Sweep it up. Sweep it up.
No.